also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Come on is right. It's that time of the year. Baseball season is upon us in Columbia. Break out your seat cushions and your tailgating supplies. It's time to head down to Founders Park, where we'll get the season going. 4 o'clock today. Miami of Ohio rolls into town, and Mark Kingston looks to follow up on a stellar 2023 season that saw the Gamecocks make a super regional, that saw the Gamecocks kind of get back to playing the baseball that we have become accustomed to seeing around here for nearly 20 years. And now they'll start to follow that up today. And for a lot of you, it's 6 a.m. Take it slowly if you're starting to tailgate now. Just take it slowly. You've got 8 hours until first pitch. Don't go out and max yourself. It's a long weekend, 3-day weekend, Preston Thorne. You can't go out and over tailgate in the first 8 hours before first pitch.
Can't win the game in the first quarter, like Pete Carroll told you. Can't win in the first quarter. Can't win in the second quarter. Not the third quarter, but you can't win in the fourth quarter. So, yes, pace yourself.
Pace yourself in your tailgating today. You got a long weekend of games, and we'll cover that a little bit this morning. John Whittle set to join us about 8:30 this morning, and we'll get to him and get some more insight. A lot of information from Kip Bulknight yesterday, and look forward to having him as a regular part of the show as we get through the season. And again, John Whittle will be ready for us at about 8:30 this morning. Of course, there's other news. Very rarely do I feel like we get to, unless it's like a Monday after football season or during football season, do we do the first segment where there's so much information to cover.
Breaking news.
From where we were at yesterday, right? Just as we were kind of going off air, it became public.
It was exciting, man, because we was like on Twitter, we was trying to confirm it. We was checking sources, going through underground boards, confirming, reporting.
We didn't want to. We wanted public content. There was some information behind a paywall, and I didn't want to spoil that for Gamecock Central. So we were hoping that they would put it up publicly, and that we
refreshing Twitter every second. The conversation was, if something happens in the next 3 minutes, we'll say something.
Yes,
that was how live the production was yesterday.
We were on our A game really throughout the morning, but especially in about the last 4 or 5 minutes of the program.
So when I left, you didn't fall apart. That's good.
We did not fall apart.
We did not. Yeah, I forgot. I hate to say this. Forgot that you left, but we kept rolling right along.
Appreciate that.
It was a very hectic time, and we had Kip Bulknight on. We did have a phone issue that you probably could have handled. I probably should have. We had I think it was more on Kip's end than our end, but
okay.
So, but no, we got through it, and here we are today. And yeah, how are we absorbing the news this morning, or how did you absorb it yesterday? What is your thoughts? Did Shane Beamer win the offseason? Did he go out and, for some of you, now this is a wild situation with what Sean Elliott just pulled, and we are here in Columbia. And we're ecstatic to have Sean come home, Coach Elliott. To me, it's an upgrade on the staff. Not necessarily from a Justin Stepp standpoint, just if you're comparing those two strictly against each other. But if you look at what I think Shane Beamer did, finishing his offensive staff off with Sean Elliott, I think he greatly enhanced the offensive staff this offseason. But if you're not aware of what Sean Elliott just did, Preston Thorne, I see your kind of face. It's a wild situation, and I've talked to enough people now. I'm starting to wonder the future of the G5 schools. Sean made a calculated decision based on what's best for Sean Elliott, and I don't think anybody can blame him for that. But the Coastal Carolinas, the Georgia States, what is the future of their football?
Bill, this is really very interesting. And that's a huge question. In short part, I think they'll be fine because they'll go back to probably what they were in a past time. But as football grows exponentially, you didn't just see the multi-billion-dollar contract that ESPN signed for the college football playoffs. This is what you see in any other industry. The bigs will consolidate and get bigger, and mom and pops will get smaller or eliminated. This is what happens in every industry when you talk about consolidation. And so the future of college football, it's going to be bright for the people who have money already. For the people who are in the lower middle class of college football, it will be tough. But they'll find a way. And hopefully those fans will find a way to support them.
I learned because I learned this yesterday that I just missed, and I still don't have all the details of the story because it was late last night. But like I saw back at the end of November, Coastal Carolina did away with one of the Teal Collective.
Yeah, I mean,
and I say that because yesterday, if you don't know, if you're like, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Georgia State was 2 practices into spring practice. They have now paused their spring practice.
Yes.
Obviously, the timing of this for South Carolina, it's perfectly fine. For South Carolina and Shane Beamer, you're like, oh, okay, sorry. We already took Jordan Strachan from you. We're sorry about this, but this is how we have to, kind of like you said, we have to enhance our program. We have to keep up with the Jimmies and the Joes.
All this is the old school game that we used to play. It's called Big Bank Take Little Bank. You ever played that game?
No, I did not.
Big Bank Take Little Bank. Here's Big Bank Take Little Bank. When you was in middle school, high school even, this one got kind of nefarious, but people would walk around with large sums of money in their pocket. And you would have a large sum of money in your pocket, and I would have a large sum of money in my pocket. And we would look at each other, and you would just walk up to them and say, Big Bank Take Little Bank. And if you was confident enough in your bank, you pull out your money. And whoever had the money gets to take the bank. Big Bank Take Little Bank.
Okay. I didn't know that's what that was called, but literally my dad and one of his brothers, they would do that. It's like, okay, you want to swap wallets today or swap money clips? And they'd, okay. So if somebody had the most, they got to swap.
This occurred?
Real life. See,
That's so funny.
There's a lot of us. There's a lot of there's me now looking at a lot of my friends from Lexington growing up going, what were we doing?
Big Bank Take Little Bank, man. That's what this is.
I just didn't know it had a name.
You got it?
I thought the vicious game was Red Rover, Red Rover.
No, that was elementary school. Once we stopped running into each other, then we tried to figure out, all right, do I have more money? Now again, in the middle school, this might have been, I have $20 and you have $22. And so now I have $42. But yeah, this is a real thing. This is what it is.
There was a time or two where it was Dad's idea, and my uncle, I think, was going shopping for something, and there was a significant amount of money. It was more than $20. And he's like, score.
Wow.
There you go.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'm chicken. I wouldn't do it, but
learn something new each and every day. 6:08 a.m. I've learned something brand new this morning.
Big Bank Take Little Bank.
We'll get into that. And again, where we're going with that is, I mean, what look, I think I don't know of a person who's looking at this move from a South Carolina standpoint saying, "Oh, can't believe you did that. Can't believe that's what you did, Sean. Can't believe you just left Georgia State high and dry for us." I think every South Carolina fan is like, "Sorry, sure, Georgia State." Preston just said, "You're the little bank," and we just came in and took your bank, took your little stack.
Bill, I'm not even sure South Carolina fans are even that considerate. They just think Sean Elliott came from somewhere. They're like, where? Oh. They play football over there? Okay. Great.
So we'll get into that because there's a lot of number one, as far as the staff for South Carolina goes, again, I think Sean Elliott can fill kind of like we talked about Joe D, who can fill a variety of roles. Sean Elliott offensively is going to fill a variety of roles. Oh, sure, his official title is tight ends coach and run game coordinator, but he is going to, I think, specifically control that run game. And then I think Lonnie Teasley is going to have an assistant staring over his shoulder, helping coach up the tight ends and the offensive line. And we'll get into that a little bit because you talked about the uncomfortable aspect of James Coley coaching wide receivers and maybe saying some stuff while Justin Steph's all over working with the tight ends. Like, whoa, man, I'm just 40 yards from you. We'll talk about that because I think Sean Elliott's impact on the staff.
So that's how you're going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be good, but it's an
You sure you want to
enhancement.
do it like that?
It's an upgrade, and Shane Beamer, I
Coach,
think.
have you ever thought of doing it like
Sean's just going to pull out that SEC Eastern Championship, Eastern Division ring that they no longer give out.
Back when I was here?
Yeah, we were winning 11 games. Just throwing that out there. 803. We'll discuss that. Yeah, 803-404-6100. So we've got baseball starting today. Okay, that's great. We've got the Sean Elliott news. That's great. And then last night, just in case you missed it, South Carolina just strolls into Knoxville and does what they do.
Yeah, but they didn't just totally
It
stroll.
wasn't cute.
Dawn wasn't happy, but I mean, again, you're still talking about a team that, they were down a point at halftime. They were down 3. They had tied it up by the third period, but then I don't know. You come off. This is what we talked about a little bit for what South Carolina's in reverse. When you get popped, you come back and you're more focused. I'm not sure where the mental focus was, and I think Dawn kind of alluded to that last night. But they went 66-55 over Tennessee. No big deal. Camila Cardoso back 18 points last night. Ashlyn Watkins is developing into the next big star, Preston. Like Ashlyn Watkins is not sitting around going, I'll wait for you, Camilla, to graduate. I'm just going to go ahead and start being a star. 14 points, 4 steals, 10 rebounds for her last night.
Filling the stat sheet. But, yeah, I think that's really important because I think the prescription was that she was going to be a role player and take her time, and that's not what she had in mind. And it's really cool to see that develop for her.
803-404-6100. We'll get to a lot of that. Let's get out real quick to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry wants to weigh in here at the end of this segment. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling just fine. An ugly win is better than a pretty loss any day. And last night, I wasn't worried, but when they was tied going into the fourth quarter, why? You know what I said to myself? Down's going to get them. They're going to win by 10. And so they did. And another, oh, Lord. What am I trying to say? Oh, yeah, softball won again 2 games yesterday. They 7-0. We're going to beat LSU this week. And Carolina has got somebody coming in. So we're going to have a pretty good week. And my drags team and my motocross team has got down at Orlando. And they're going to start racing this weekend. They're going to bring it back. Gamecock, WC, Jace, Westaway, and Lucas. They go fly the Gamecock flag all across that place down there. One more thing I had to say, but I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, talking about Sean Elliott. And I heard some people say some things about Sean that about him jumping ship. Well, his family has been here ever since he's been at Georgia State. He traveled back and forth coaching Georgia State and trying to be some with his family. And he told his oldest daughter that he would be home for her final year of school, which is next year. And so he wasn't football-wise, well, it really helped the Gamecock, but it was a personal reason. And you people that don't understand this, let me tell you something. They do this all the time in the Army. If you got a family back home and your family needs you back home, sometimes you can't go back home, but a lot of times they will get you back home if you got a got a family. So don't start talking about Sean. I'm glad he's back.
That's right. We got to hit a break. We got to literally have to hit a break. So we love you. You have a good weekend. And we'll get more of your thoughts from Gamecock Larry on Tuesday. You're listening to The Early Game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. The Game TV. .107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
With approved credit. Have you ever heard an ad for a really great sale but thought to yourself, my credit score isn't where it needs to be? If that's you, then listen up. The great team at JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram doesn't want you to miss out over credit concerns. It's President's Month, and we've got prices and programs that can make what seems impossible possible. Jamarcus in Columbia and Tanya and Kershaw both had shaky credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's. Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram. President's Day sales event.
The Game will be kicking off 2024 Gamecocks baseball season live at the Village Idiot on opening day, Friday, February 16th, from noon right up to the pregame show. Now here's Village Idiot owner Brian Glenn.
It's our first opening day in baseball season without our friend Tommy Moody. So to celebrate Tommy, we're doing a roundup campaign where we're going to raise money for the Tommy Moody Scholarship Foundation all weekend long, Friday through Sunday at both locations.
The Game broadcasting live opening day from the Village Idiot on Whaley.
Hey, this is Nikki Stengel, manager of the Nest Showroom. We offer a wide variety of affordable products in plumbing, lighting, and appliances, providing our clients with a unique and convenient place to shop. The Nest has product specialists on site to provide you the attention to detail and service you deserve. We believe in providing exceptional customer service and inspiring beautiful interiors and design, doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Come see for yourself. The Nest Showroom, located at 1331 Gadsden Street in the Vista.
The Anastapula Law Firm has been recovering millions for their clients for over 30 years. Whether it's a slip and fall, car accident, or any other issues that have resulted from an accident, Anastapula Law Firm can help. Their South Carolina personal injury attorneys have experience fighting for the rights of their clients. Remember, don't scream, call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s now. Herb Glass is responsible for this ad, and cases are handled at 32 Ann Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29403. Paid endorsement, not actually client. Results may vary.
Even if you haven't seen them yet, you know they're coming. Weeds. I'm Paul Romanstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. And now is the time to get started on that beautiful lawn. Sign up for our Midlands Green Treatment Program, and our lawn experts will give your turf the fertilization it needs while conquering the weeds. Aren't you ready to have a green, lush lawn this year? Give us a try. Midlands Landscape and Lawns. Schedule an appointment today on hateweeds.com. That's right, hateweeds.com.
Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause thousands of dollars in damage to your home's foundation. Canty Foundation can replace your gutters and save you money.
Canty installs gutter shutter.
Call us today for your free inspection.
Canty can fix it.
Having a reliable gutter system is essential to protecting your home's interior and exterior. Heavy rain can unleash gallons of water onto your home, and poorly maintained or leaky gutters could lead to roofing, siding, and water damage that is expensive to repair or replace. Online at candygutters.com. The Ronald McDonald House Charities Columbia SC invites you to be a part of their annual gala fundraiser themed A Midsummer Night's Dream. The fundraiser will be Friday, March 1st at 1208 Washington Place. Gala sponsorships and tickets can be purchased at their website, rmhcofcolumbia.org. The Ronald McDonald House Charities of Columbia serves families of critically ill or injured children with the Ronald McDonald House and the Ronald McDonald Family Room. To be a sponsor or purchase tickets for the gala fundraiser, visit rmhcofcolumbia.org. When it comes to comfort, you can rely on Brian's Heating and Cooling. Here's Tara Davis.
I came home from a vacation one summer and our air was out. I called Brian and they responded promptly and were able to take care of the problem. Since then, they are my go-to heating and cooling resource. Because of their service agreement, it gives me peace of mind. I know if I have any issues, I can call them and they'll respond promptly. I love having that trust and confidence in their service.
Call Brian's Heating and Cooling at 796-1788. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
In downtown Columbia, we do have a report of an accident, and that would be Hampton Street at Sumter Highway. But all else looking really good across the Midlands this morning. And as far as our forecast is concerned, mostly cloudy, 68 for the high today. Some clouds tomorrow, 57. 54 on Sunday. We get back into the 60s next week. Don't really see any rain in the forecast until maybe next Friday. But obviously a long way off for there. But we're going to see mixes of clouds and sun really for the next several days. We'll take it. And a little bit warmer this morning than it was yesterday. It is 46 on the early game.
The early game with Phil Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$6:21 as we get you up and get you going on a fun day for South Carolina athletics as South Carolina baseball opens the 2024 campaign, and we'll talk about that. The series this weekend, part of a 10-game homestand to open the 2024 campaign. All 3 games, of course, will be on the Gamecock Radio Sports Network. You'll hear them right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. It'll be Derek Scott, Cade Crenshaw, and Stuart Lake. Cade Crenshaw step in for Derek Scott on Saturday when the Gamecocks are playing basketball. But Stuart Lake taking over for the one and only Tommy Moody, and we'll talk a little bit about that as the morning goes along. But some of the bigger news from yesterday is the return of Sean Elliott. And let's just start with this part, Preston. One of the things you and I had talked about, and you had kind of brushed around, I don't know if you'd ever come full out and said it, but the need for maybe Shane Beamer to look and we'll say grizzle up you need that guy who looks like he's running about 18 hours behind on a shave, whose voice is a little raspy, who's not afraid to say no.
Does he have multiple spit cups around around his office? That guy.
I don't think the spit cup part fits Sean Elliott, but Sean Elliott is a grizzled veteran in the coaching industry. I think he and Shane Beamer have the relationship from their time where Sean Elliott can sit in a meeting and say, no, I don't think that's going to work. I think we need to look at how we do this, how we do that. And factor in James Coley, who's been around the SEC and high Power 5 football for a long time. Dow Loggins has a track record of being at high level football. All in all, it fits for a staff, I think, that has to now look at their offense and upgrade it after what has transpired the first 3 years.
I like the makeup of the staff. That's something, like I said, I really thought that's what this staff really needed, especially with the loss of Pete Limbo as an associate head coach and somebody who was a little bit, and again, you just need people who have seen things in the world of football to be able to tell you that you're going down the right path or that they've experienced this before and you might want to make a slight adjustment, or to just flat out tell you, no, this is not right. They don't have to do it in an embarrassing way or in a defiant way, but just to tell you, listen, from my experience and from all the experiences I have, this is the way that we need to move. In every coach, every office, every business needs somebody who's been there like that. It's no different than the young guys that are on the roof and they're trying to do it the hard manual labor way, and the old guys just like, well, how about if you just do it like this is a lot easier and a lot more efficient. And then the young guys are like, oh yeah, we can do it like that. So yes, I do think any move where they can provide more experience to the staff is an upgrade, in my opinion.
And on top of that, again, I like Lonnie Teasley. I don't blame him for last year. You had a lot of the injuries, you had a lot of the situations going on. What I think with Lonnie Teasley is this is a huge year for him. And by adding Sean Elliott, and I'll ask you again, the exact role of the tight end coach. catch the ball and block. Well, guess what the offensive line has to do? Block. I feel like this is Sean Elliott is kind of co-offensive line coach, tight ends coach, and run game coordinator, where Sean Elliott's had success as an offensive line coach. He fits the need of another guy who can kind of put his arm with Greg Atkins to kind of in an analyst role, put his arm around Lonnie Teasley and go, all right, we know that you know what you're doing, but we're going to offer some advice as well.
Yeah, they're going to need to have very honest, open, and probably difficult conversations about establishing boundaries, about roles, about who's doing what, about all of these different things, because this is a touchy situation. Because on a staff, you have a coach coming in who has had a prior relationship with the head guy. Is known to be a successful offensive line guy. You're a young offensive line coach whose offensive line did not perform very well last year. It's known that you need to improve the run game. That's a recipe for disaster if they're not having those types of conversations. You would hope that they have. I think that's yet to be seen. It can be a very good thing because the more minds you put in the room, it can be better. But if they're not having those conversations, we'll see how it works out.
Is there a hierarchy here where now maybe Lonnie Teasley gets, and I'm not being funny, but gets a little more quiet in the offensive meeting room to where he looks around and goes, well, I'll offer my suggestion if I really want to, but I'm kind of teaching my fundamentals, but maybe their scheme. Like this is a room of egos.
Yes,
if you're a college,
and that's the big thing that we got to understand. These men did not make it to this level by just meekly acquiescing to somebody, right? And Sean's coming from being a head coach. Not saying this is no character aspersions on Sean, but he's used to doing things a certain way. And as I was joking at the beginning, when he was here, we had a lot of success running the ball his way. And so
helps that he had a dude named Lattimore and a dude named Davis.
They was fine. And also a dude named Spurrier calling the plays.
True.
Whatever. But yes, there are going to be uncomfortable moments. It can work, but they're all going to have to understand that we're here for a specific role. And do you overstep? Great instance. Ready, Bill? Grandparents. Love them. They're awesome. They take care of your kids when you need them. Sometimes they look at their children and they're like, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
And they might say stuff to you, or you might just see a look on their face. They're like, we didn't do that back when. Why are you doing that? You letting them do that? That's kind of the role that Sean Elliott's in. He's the grandfather of this thing. Hopefully he'll be supportive, but he's going to get on Lonnie Teasley's nerves at some point because it's just going to be like, I'm doing it my way.
Right.
I'm an adult too. We'll see.
One other just interesting thing about this, not that Sean Elliott has ever been an offensive coordinator, but we know that he was a big part of merging his thoughts on the zone read run game with G.A. Mangus to create more of what I'll just call the Connor Shaw offense. That wasn't the Spurrier offense. That was the Connor Shaw offense. Just one other interesting, Marquell Blackwell has been a co-offensive coordinator as well during his time at Houston. You go from kind of from maybe having a completely inexperienced staff, and that's no offense to Eric Kimry and then Jody Wright, but you go almost from having and Justin Stepp, who'd never been an offensive coordinator, to now you've got a lot of experience in that offensive room.
So that goes to Dow. Dow had the run of the land last year. He was the big dog from the NFL with all of experience. Wasn't many people who could, with their resume, challenge anything that was said. Now when he walks into the room and he proposes an idea, and you have a former head coach that says something about it, another former OC, James Cooley's been coaching for 50 years.
He's been an OC.
Right. It can be a good thing, if everybody's willing to play their role. It is yet to be seen.
803-404-6100. Rolling along here on a Friday morning. Obviously, a lot of news from yesterday. Preston's got to leave early, so we're just allowing him to go.
Yeah, just going off.
We'll get more of that and get into some baseball later on this morning as well. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Sheehan Jensen. It's the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Got something to say? Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. At 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Pressing here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. They will come out to you and give you a free quote for any job. So that means wherever you are, they will come to you, whether you're at home, whether you're at school, whether you're at work, wherever you are, they will come out to you. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. Now, if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
With approved credit. Have you ever heard an ad for a really great sale but thought to yourself, my credit score isn't where it needs to be? If that's you, then listen up. The great team at JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram doesn't want you to miss out over credit concerns. It's President's Month, and we've got prices and programs that can make what seems impossible possible. Jamarcus in Columbia and Tanya in Kershaw both had shaky credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's.
Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram.
President's Day sales event
This year.
Save big on accessories today. Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Exit 70 off I-20 or visit carolinahonda.com. Honda accessory rebate offer is valid with the purchase of a new and unregistered 2024 and prior ATV, Pioneer, or Talon models. Check with Carolina Honda Powerhouse for complete details.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
and taking a look at things for your Friday morning commute. Downtown Columbia, the only accident we are reporting at this time, and that's Hampton Street at Sumter Street. 68, going to be our high today, that overnight low of 52. Then we go back to having some cooler mornings for a few days. 57 for the high tomorrow with that overnight low of 34. And Sunday, 54. Monday, 62. And Tuesday, 65. So not a bad forecast on tap. And a little bit warmer this morning than it has been in the past few. It is 46 under fair skies on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.636 as we roll along here on a Friday morning. Baseball opening day. We'll obviously talk a lot about that coming up throughout the show. John Whittle from thebigspur.com set to join us about 8:30 this morning. We'll get his take as we count down to first pitch today over at Founders Park. But talking a little bit right now, Preston Thorne, about the addition of Sean Elliott to the South Carolina football coaching staff. Nobody, to my knowledge, nobody is questioning whether this is a good hire, whether this strengthens the staff, whether this makes South Carolina better. And maybe here in Columbia, nobody's questioning what just occurred at Georgia State. But, I mean, it's a situation that you do talk a little bit about because I think this is the new age of college football. But, man, to leave 2 practices into spring practice, this is when the job came open. And this is what Sean Elliott has wanted to do without going into all the details. He has wanted to come back. He feels this is a better opportunity. And you can't do it if there's no staff, if there's no availability on staff. With Justin Stepp choosing to leave and head to Illinois, this is the opportunity then became available.
Yeah, and you can't choose when the opportunities become available. And unfortunately, you're going to have to make a choice a lot of times in life that some people agree with, some people won't, and it'll hurt. It might hurt some people. You know, I know I speak from the player's perspective here a lot of times. This sucks. This sucks if you're a Georgia State player because you had a path in front of you, and now essentially your whole world has been upended by the choice that the person you thought was your head coach was making the choice. No aspersions on him making the choice that best works for him because everybody is there for themselves, and I get that. But now these people who basically tethered themselves to you and your vision for the program are left scrambling with what they're going to do because there's going to be another head coach, probably new position coaches, whole new direction for the program. And your future is very much up in the air now based on the decision that the head coach made.
And a big thing about that, there's actually a really good article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it basically does say, like, Sean Elliott left Georgia State for a great. It says the actual headline is Georgia State football coach Sean Elliott leaves Georgia State for a great reason, family, and that's one of it. Sean Elliott's family had still been here in Columbia. He'd been obviously living in Atlanta when he needed to do his coaching and then driving back, and that's a big part of this. But there's a bunch of articles. If you just Google Sean Elliott, there's a bunch of them that are also basically starting with. In a growing trend, a G5 coach leaves for a Power 5 assistant job.
Yeah, and again, yes, he left for family, but also he left for a better opportunity in the current college football landscape. So it's awesome when 2 things can merge, when you can do something that's better for your family and at the same time do something better for his career. Then yeah, that's a choice that he's going to make. It may be difficult. He's going to have to cry some eggs to do that. But yes, it's not. He's not making we'll see on Monday or Tuesday, whenever that situation comes out. he's not going to make many financial sacrifices to make this move, right? And so there is a sacrifice that he's making, but this is a betterment for his career.
And again, it'll be interesting to see where it goes for Shane Beamer, because again, now you get another offensive mind in Sean Elliott with the run game. You get another actual. Well, I shouldn't say another, but you have a former head coach. Joe D was never a head coach, but he's a guy who again is going to be able to tell Shane, hey, 30 years of experience, NFL. I kind of know what I'm talking about. That whole staff, I think, has evolved pretty strongly in the last 2 months.
Yeah, and Shane's got to be ready for that, because it's a whole different conversation when you're be the head or the point person of all these people who will or have the ability to question your decision-making process. And that's going to be a new adjustment process for Shane. He's going to have to figure out how, because again, yes, Shane and Sean know each other. Yes, they worked with each other, but they were on the same level.
They were venting about the head coach to each other.
Exactly. Exactly. They were in the room. Can you believe Steve doesn't want to watch any film? How's this guy get anything done? All he wants to do is play golf all day. They were telling each other that. Now, it's different. That's all I'm saying. It's just different. That's all I'm saying.
803-404.
That's a great point.
6100.
The whole point of being on staff with each other is so we can talk about the boss.
Right. You go behind the box, the boss's back. So I didn't know I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he gave treatment to that guy. Now it's a little bit different. Sean can't accidentally text Shane in the middle of the night and be like, man, can you believe what the head coach did today? Oops.
Exactly.
803-404-6100. All right, I have to make a small confession to you that you kind of asked yesterday.
Okay.
I now am the excitement meter.
Ooh.
It's more of the intrigue meter, but that brings excitement. I can't have one without the other. It clicked up about 2 notches yesterday, slightly.
Okay.
Because I become now more interested. Obviously, my vantage point, what I've said is just win. But now it's more of like, I want to see how you're about to win. I want to see what I become now more of not just involved in the result of the game, but I want to see what the game actually looks like. It clicked up.
Has Bill the Grinch's heart grew a little bit?
A size.
Just a size?
Just
Not
a size.
Yet, just a size.
It just now becomes more of, I don't care about spring ball. I really want to see how you've meshed all this together, and has this indeed worked to help your offensive staff and your offensive production greatly improve.
Yeah, now to your point, now I am interested in spring ball because I want to see how these things operate.
803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines where our golf buddy from about 2 weeks ago, Mark, wants to weigh in on this. Mark, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good morning, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. I, like many, was happy to see Sean Elliott back and surprised in the move. But question for Preston. So do you, or both of you, do you see this potentially being an associate head coaching role for Sean Elliott? And then Preston, how does a run coordinator work within an offense? So obviously the head coach has an offensive philosophy. Then you've got offensive coordinator. Then you've got a run game coordinator, and then you have position coaches. So how does that all work together? And I'll hang up and listen on the air. But hope you guys have a good weekend. Excited for baseball. Talk to you guys later. Maybe we can play golf again sometime soon. Take care, guys.
No doubt.
Appreciate it, Mark.
I think Preston would rather stick to the simulated golf where he doesn't have to.
No, actually, I'd rather just go outside and walk the beautiful courses.
There you go. I'll let you answer that because there is something that's evolving here that I don't think Shane is going to talk about. We're just going to show up on August 31st, and it's going to be an evolution. And I'll ask you about that. But there's some good questions by Mark. 803-404-6100. We'll get back to those questions in just a second. You're listening to The Early Game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3.
On the base shoots it up over Vanover. Got it!
I take a lot of pride in being from South Carolina. It's part of why I chose the school. I just want them to know, man, I got love for this school. I think the school loves me as well. And just a guy that gave it his all while he was here and just made continuous improvement. And just a winner, man. A guy that really wanted to win and left it all on the court every time.
Everyone says they care about the team and they care about winning, but I think this group especially is all about winning.
When I'm in the huddle with my teammates, when we're on the road, when we're going up against somebody, I just always tell them, be us. Be who we are. Don't try to be nobody else. Like, you can look at it and be like, well, doing something right now, you know what I'm saying? We just want to stay on that path, stay on that path to greatness and stay on that path to march.
Select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $75 on every $750 you spend on all major appliances, like LG, America's most reliable line of home appliances. Shop in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 2/28. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause thousands of dollars in damage to your home's foundation. Canty Foundation can replace your gutters and save you money.
Canty installs gutter shutter.
Call us today for your free inspection.
Canty can fix it.
Having a reliable gutter system is essential to protecting your home's interior and exterior. Heavy rain can unleash gallons of water onto your home, and poorly maintained or leaky gutters could lead to roofing, siding, and water damage that is expensive to repair or replace. Online at candygutters.com. The Carolina Cup races are Saturday, March 30th, presented by MUSC Health. The 89th running on the Springdale Racecourse, a pristine setting on green grass, beautiful pines under blue skies in Camden, South Carolina. Nothing rivals this great Southern tradition in steeplechase racing. The family fun event you do not want to miss. Incredible tailgating, shopping, food, and unique entertainment for everyone, including the True Vista Kids Zone. Get your tickets now at carolinacup.org. March 30th, rain or shine.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-333-1750. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750 or biglou.com. The Early Game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.649 as we roll along here, hour number one on your Friday morning broadcast. Again, reminder today, we will be over at Village Idiot, our good buddy, Brian Glenn, hosting Jay and Terry and the gang. You can swing by and see them, grab a slice of pizza before the game, and you can actually see what Jay and Terry look like. I don't know if you want to do that, but that's how you want to start your Friday. You want to start your weekend, knock yourself out. Again, it'll be a special Gamecock baseball opening day halftime live from Village Idiot Friday. That's today, starting at noon to 3:45, and then we'll have the pregame show right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Pregame show will start at 3:45 today, and that's how you can enjoy the baseball contest this afternoon starting at 4 o'clock over at Founders Park. We'll try and get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines in just a second, but Mark asked a really good question. You've got Sean Elliott's philosophies that he'll have to mix with the running back coach, Marquell Blackwell, along with the offensive coordinator, what he wants to do. How does that kind of work?
It has to be a chain of command. Dow's obviously at the top. Then it's going to go to the run game coordinator. Then it goes down to the running back coach. Everybody will have a say-so. That's not true. Everybody will be able to have input, but only maybe one person has say-so in what actually happens, and that'll be Dow. That's if they have a functioning staff. Non-functioning staffs, everybody's trying to get their word in, and nobody ends up working together. The run game coordinator can be tactical. So maybe Dow wants to run a certain type of play. Sean, together with Lonnie, can get together and figure out how we're going to block this. What's the best way for the team to block this? What schemes can we actually utilize and win? So it'll be a trickle down thing. Dow will probably, and again, probably because I don't know how the staff will work, Dow will say, this is what we want to run and this is what we're going to get accomplished. The run game coordinator will figure out the best way to get it accomplished.
In this situation, does Dow feel just a little threatened that Shane and Sean's relationship, and if Sean comes in and goes, no, we're putting in this run play has worked, and Dow's like, well, I'm not familiar with that. It doesn't fit. Because here's one other thing we've heard, and this is where I was going as we hit break. All we've heard from Shane is, I want to run a pro style offense. That was supposedly what attracted Spencer Rattler. I want to run a pro style offense. Lenora Sellers, as we saw in, I think, the Vanderbilt game, I know it was Vanderbilt, but he can run, and his legs are going to be a large part of this offense. And even the young man they just brought in out of the transfer portal, Robbie Ashford, is this a situation where Dow's now looking around going, wait, you brought this guy in, and now supposedly Dow was going to change the offense around to incorporate more quarterback run in it, but this guy's more of an expert in that.
I have no idea what's happening over in that building. All I can say is I've seen situations where that could be a recipe for some issues, because you have to think about whose relationship is closer, who's actually talking, who's talking when we're off grounds. There's a lot of things.
If Joe D's texting Shane during the middle of a game?
Yes, all of that. All of those different things could be in play in a dysfunctional system. I'm not saying that this will be it. I am saying that there is a very high potential for upside, but there's also potential that it doesn't work. But hopefully everybody involved understands their role and works to the betterment of the program.
803-404-6100. About a minute and a half left. Let's go out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Andy wants to weigh in. Andy, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, to use a Wizard of Oz reference, you're saying if we go out to a Village Idiot, we will be disappointed if we see the men behind the curtain?
You said that, but I will not stop you from saying it nor disagree.
Okay, but back to my question. I mean, we're talking about, coaches leaving and going. Players do it all the time. That's just where we are now. So, I mean, it sucks for some people. I mean, we lose players, we lose coaches. It's just they're doing what's best for them. So, it is what it is. But it's changed. I mean, players are now leaving not just because of playing time. They may want more money. So I was just going to ask, from back when you were playing, what's the percentage that the game has changed, do you think? I'll hang up and listen.
Andy, appreciate you listening. I mean, it's a totally different scenario. It's almost sometimes difficult to compare these eras. I played a long time ago, but even maybe we just go back 5 years ago, things have changed. And you go back pre-transfer portal, things have changed completely. Yes. And I think, Andy, you have to I'm in the same spot as you. I'm resigned to this idea that everybody has free will and free movement and you can move. The only caveat that I would say is that the coaches are under contract as employees of these institutions, and that should have some bearing on whether or not they make their moves. When the players eventually get on contract, I would have the same feelings towards them.
803-404-6100. You're about to head out?
Yeah, man. I'm about to sleep some sleeping children down to Charleston.
There you go. Yeah, bright and early for you as you'll get down. You'll come back. We are off for President's Day on Monday, but we will all be back on Tuesday. We'll recap some baseball. And we'll get more into this because some of the questions Preston and I have pertain to what is the future of the G5 when you start to see head coaches leaving to take positional coaching jobs at Power 5 schools. Where is the G5 exactly going?
Big bank take little bank, Bill.
Well, maybe you become the big bank. You just have to be in your own banking network.
There's always a bigger bank somewhere.
Be safe.
Thank you, man.
Have a good weekend. 803-404-6100. Hour 2 on the way. Chris Deering will join us as well. It's the early game.
All right, y'all, the spring is here. Baseball season's here. And we've been telling you this whole time to get your outdoor setup for integrated media. So what are you waiting for? It's time to do it. You can get your Samsung Terrace TVs waterproof. You can get Sonos outdoor speakers ready for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors so you can enjoy the game inside your house, outside your house, on the patio, on the deck, wherever you want to do that. Or my personal favorite, controlling all your devices from just one remote. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or check them out online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators.
Heard an ad for a really great sale, but thought to yourself, my credit score isn't where it needs to be? If that's you, then listen up. The great team at JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram doesn't want you to miss out over credit concerns. It's President's Month, and we've got prices and programs that can make what seems impossible possible. Jamarcus in Columbia and Tanya and Kershaw both had shaky credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's.
Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram.
President's Day sales event.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And out on the highways this morning, as far as your commute is concerned, we do have a report of an accident at Hampton Street at Sumter in downtown Columbia. Outside of that, things not moving too bad. There appears to be a disabled vehicle or something on I-26, both east and westbound between exits 101 and 97. It's coming in as a disabled vehicle, but impacting traffic both directions. So just allow maybe a slowdown there. 68 for the high today under mostly cloudy skies. 57 tomorrow, 54 on Sunday. We get back to the low 60s on Monday. But right now, fair skies. It is 46 on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Josh Simon, your South Carolina Gamecocks tight end. You are now listening to 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Kansas and Illinois. Sounds like a great basketball game, Preston Thorne, but it's Illinois.
A lot of corn. A lot of corn.
A lot of corn. Is Illinois known as the Corn State?
Oh, there's a ton of corn. Yeah.
Really?
And Jen Jensen.
There was a school south of us that we played, and they were called, the town was Hoopston, and they were the Hoopston Corn Jerkers. Can't make it up.
Ooh. That's unfortunate.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I really did have a feeling. I thought we were going to lose this game. I didn't want to lose the game, but I had that feeling of the last time we were here and we lost. Like the shoot around was kind of sluggish. And I think that's just the tradition of playing here. They've won a lot of games here. They've won a lot of national championships. And part of you know that the spirit of Pat Sumter is always going to be lingering around here, so we don't like to play against that.
Dawn Staley last night after the game, you win that huge game. You thump Connecticut at home, win by 18, and really after our fourth quarter where you got outscored by 7. And Tennessee's not a bad basketball team, but didn't matter. Last night, the number 1 ranked Gamecocks go on the road and knock off Tennessee 66-55. It was close. It was a lot closer than maybe what we've all come to expect. They still win by double digits, which just sounds ludicrous to say, oh, it was closer.
Well, but
for 3 quarters,
really wasn't until the last few minutes or, the last half, the last quarter that they really pulled away.
Yeah, first 3 quarters. As a matter of fact, South Carolina trailed 28-25 at halftime. Managed to tie it up there in the third period and then go on to win it in the fourth period, 66-55. The final, Camila Cardoso scoring 18 points, scoring 18, grabbing 10 rebounds in her return from her Brazilian national team appearance. And then as we kind of alluded to, Ashlyn Watkins has decided, I believe, she's not going to wait any longer. She's going to become the next South Carolina star. 6 of 9 from the field last night, scores 14 points, grabs 10 rebounds, has 4 steals. A very, very impressive performance for her, and not to be outdone on the rebound, the boards. Raven Johnson, they don't really need her to score. She was only 1 of 6 from the field last night, but grabbed 15 rebounds last night. The Gamecock point guard did. So a very solid statistical night as it pertains to points, some rebounds. It was not a good night as it pertains to shooting. The Gamecocks shoot 28 of 70, 40% from the field, and they were just 2 of 9 from three-point range, 22%, only 8 of 16 from the foul line for 50%, but they win, and that's what matters most. They'll be back on the court this coming Sunday, 1 o'clock, and right now, let's give away to caller number 4. Caller number 4, 803-404-6100. We've got tickets, a pair of tickets to Sunday's home game against Georgia, 1 o'clock. College Game Day will be there at noon, broadcasting live. And at 1 o'clock, the Gamecocks will welcome Georgia into the building. 803-404-6100. Caller number 4 right now will win a pair of tickets to the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs Sunday, little 1 o'clock action. Maybe you can go down, catch a little bit of that, then walk over to the baseball stadium, catch the last few innings of the Gamecocks and Miami of Ohio, which we'll talk more about. But the Gamecocks now, Dawn Staley's team just motoring along. No problem. 24-0, 11-0 in conference play. And again, right now, caller number 4, 803-404-6100 wins a pair of tickets to Sunday's contest against Georgia over at Colonial Life Arena. Again, the other news that we spent the first hour discussing is the hiring, which should be approved today, or will be approved. I guess I shouldn't put questions in your mind. The Board of Trustees will have a meeting today, and they will approve, ratify the contract. No word yet, or I have not seen, maybe someone's seen it somewhere else. I have not seen a number for how much Sean Elliott will make this coming season, but we'll learn about that later today. Again, a Board of Trustees meeting set for this afternoon to go ahead and approve Sean Elliott's contract. That'll get him on staff, get him starting to be primed up and ready to go meet with the staff, get in there, start talking about ideas, fundamentals that they want to use in the run game. Spent a lot of the first hour talking about that. Other thing going on today, oh yeah, over at Founders Park, it's time to get going again. South Carolina and Miami of Ohio. Eli Jones will get the start later today. Dylan Eskew be on the mound tomorrow, and Roman Kimball set for the Sunday start. Miami of Ohio, new head coach this year. Brian Smiley will be making his debut in the dugout for the Red Hawks. Smiley, an assistant and associate head coach at Indiana State for the past 14 seasons. He helped Indiana State to 5 NCAA tournaments, including a super regional berth in 2023. Miami of Ohio, last season, 21-35 overall. They were 13-17 in the MAC. This will be a team that comes in. South Carolina, this will be the 8th, 9th, and 10th all-time meeting between the Gamecocks and the Red Hawks. South Carolina has a 6-1 advantage so far. They last met in a series in 2015 at Founders Park. The Gamecocks swept that series. They shut out Miami of Ohio in each of the first 2 games. Boy, reading some of the notes on this just takes you back. Will Crow throwing the opener and striking out 8 and 7 scoreless innings. Jack Wynkoop threw the second game and pitched 8 scoreless innings as the Gamecocks won 2-0 in the first one, 7-0 in the second one. So you'll have Eli Jones looking to kind of match those performances later on this afternoon. 4 o'clock, again, reminder, we will have Terry Ford and Jay Phillips over at Village Idiot later on today. Starting at noon, they will be out there. You can stop by, grab a slice of pizza, hang out with our buddy Brian Glenn. Probably a lot more fun to hang out with him than it is to hang out with Jay and Terry. But we'll have a special Gamecock baseball opening day halftime show from the Village Idiot on Whaley Street, so just down from the ballpark, noon to 3:45, and then we will have our pregame show beginning at 3:45 as we get you ready. Now, one of the things that occurred today, and we did this yesterday, and I know Jen's in there working hard. We got a little technical issue, but one thing that's not the same today, and that, Jen, we will have to do at one time coming up here, maybe in the 8 o'clock hour, in honor of Tommy Moody, is to play Put Me In, Coach. It isn't the same. Stuart Lake is going to do a phenomenal job filling in, huge shoes to fill. But Jen, obviously, you can speak a little bit more about this because you worked with Tommy, and you would physically see and hear his excitement on opening day for South Carolina when you worked with him. His impact on South Carolina baseball as a whole, not just as a broadcaster, but a player. I believe South Carolina is going to do something today pregame to honor Tommy, from what I understand. But yeah, Jen, it's. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It's a little sad. It's Tommy Moody not being there. 23 seasons. He was the analyst on the Gamecock Sports Network.
And I miss in the leading up because he was a good texter. So there were a lot of people that he would just text random things to, and we were in a text thread together. Benji Norton was part of it, and obviously he's not there anymore. And there's another guy, Mike, who's in it, and then that was the 3 of us, and now Mike and I are like, okay, let's keep this going as long as we can. But he would put in all kinds of stats about, the upcoming baseball season, because, he was a walking encyclopedia. So it was, the excitement would start in with messages and, hey, I think this is what we're looking forward to this season. And so I missed some of that intel, preseason intel. But for everybody, it's just not the same. Like you said, 23 years. I mean,
as an analyst, as just an analyst, he obviously played under Bobby Richardson from 70, 72. So, he's been affiliated in some way, shape, or form.
And my husband told me a story last night about the fact, he said, I'm going to miss not hearing Tommy. And he said, still remember when our son was littler and played baseball, and he heard a broadcast of Tommy, and he said, he's up to the plate, or, he's up there, he taps the dish, and Trent's like, what's a dish? But Tommy he just had such a flow and the vocabulary, and just made it he painted such a good picture.
Again, I think they're doing something pregame. I have not gotten confirmation on that, but I know that today Gamecocks will wear a Moody sticker on their helmets, and again, as well as honoring him pregame. That is in the notes, but I'm not sure what exactly it is. But you'll see a Moody sticker on the helmets, and there'll be a pregame. So make sure you get into the ballpark early.
Yeah, it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different. We're going to miss him a lot.
Yeah. Stuart Lake, who I know will do a fantastic job, and love Stuart.
Mhm. He will do a great job.
But certainly, again, interesting day for South Carolina baseball. Be a lot of fun. This team, obviously, they're ranked all over the place. They're ranked as high as I think I've seen 13. They're in 25 in one spot, all kinds of different polls. But the 132nd season of South Carolina baseball begins at 4:00 today at Founders Park. Again, we'll have coverage right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Again, Jay and Terry will be over at the Village Idiot on Whaley Street beginning at noon. And again, you can go by. No word yet if they will let you throw a pizza pie at Terry Ford. We are efforting that. I think Brian Glenn will sign up for that, maybe extra cheese on that, and he will throw it at Terry Ford later on today. We hope so. But again, they'll be over there 12 to 3:45. So if you're heading down to the ballpark, you can check that out, go visit them, and then walk on over. And again, get into the ballpark early today, as South Carolina will be honoring Tommy Moody with a pregame celebration. So make sure you get down there early and honor Tommy yourself. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. By the way, we'll throw it out there. Chris Deering due up next. But if you have a Tommy Moody memory from a call, the 5 home runs against Georgia in the Super Regional. But if you have one, please share it with us today. Obviously, again, as we begin the season, a lot of focus on the team, but definitely want to honor our good buddy Tommy Moody today. As I know he is up there smiling, and I know he's probably just as excited.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. He's going to put some magic on. We'll have some magic batters and stuff here.
Yeah, there we go. 803-404-6100. Chris Deering due up next, the high school highlights of the week. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality. The Game TV.
All right, we are officially past Valentine's. You know what that means now? It means it's time for spring cleaning. Some people enjoy it. I don't know those people, but some people just love some spring cleaning. And then probably more people are like me, where if you can hire someone to come in and clean the carpets, rugs, tile, upholstery, get the house looking nice, oh, you're going to take every advantage. And guess what? Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is ready to do that. They'll take all the stress off of you. You can wait for it, or you can go ahead and call today and take advantage of a great offer. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 plus a free staircase. Give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or you can schedule with ease online, ZerustColumbia.com. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 plus a free staircase. Zerust, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super congested all the time. We were taking everything we possibly could, but nothing really worked.
Kyrie was miserable until a friend recommended Navage. Navage offers immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Don't live in misery this cold season. Use Navage so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
The biggest thing Navage has done has completely cleaned out my nasal passages. It was from the first use. I was able to just clear out anything that was stopping me from breathing correctly. Navage helps me clear the way, literally clear the way for me to operate better in the rest of my life.
Experience the Navage difference yourself. Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
Are you looking for your dream boat? Don't miss the Columbia Boat Show, February 16th through 18th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. Featuring hundreds of boats on sale, a great selection of marine products and services, live entertainment, and family fun. Visit thecolumbiaboatshow.com for details.
It's the Players Club countdown to Gamecock baseball. It's opening day. Step into the future of golf at the Players Club, Columbia's first and only exclusive indoor golf and country club. Visit playersclubsc.com to learn more. The Players Club, where golf meets elegance.
It's time to dust off your running shoes. The Cocky Trot 5K and Fun Run and Walk, presented by Palmetto Shirt Company, is back. Join Gamecock fans on Saturday, April 20th for the fun-filled morning and cross the finish line at the 50-yard line in Williams-Brice Stadium. Register by March 10th to get early bird pricing, and all participants receive a special edition t-shirt and medal. Visit GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot to register today.
Honey, would you take a seat? I have a confession to make.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, I was out driving today and I saw some hookers on the side of the road. A bunch of huge, professional, beautiful-looking hookers. So I did what I was supposed to do. I slowed down and I moved over.
You slowed down for the hookers?
Well, yeah, it's the law. There was a whole fleet of Schroeder's towing trucks assisting with an accident. Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
Schroeder's Towing reminds you to slow down and move over for all first responders.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Pete Wine Pool and Spa is the area's award-winning vinyl, fiberglass, and gunite pool builder. From design to installation, the Pete Wine team will be with you every step of the way. From a standard rectangle to an exotic backyard oasis, Pete Wine is the builder to call. On-site consults are free. The name is Ale Wine. 2 beverages, ale and wine. Pete Wine Pool and Spa. We're on Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. You'll find us on Facebook and online at PeteLWinePools.com.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And out on the highways this morning, might encounter a slowdown or two. Chain Gang Road at Garner's Ferry Road, there is an accident there. Also, I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road. Leapart at Highway 378, there's also a report of a tie-up. Sunny today, 68 for the high, and 57 tomorrow with some clouds. 54 on Sunday. We get back into the low 60s on Monday. Monday's high 62. We enjoy the morning, or a little bit warmer this morning. Overnight low tonight will be 52. Then we're kind of back in the 30s for the morning. So we're still, spring isn't quite here yet. Right now, though, it's not too bad. It is 46 in the early game.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:18 as we get you up and get you going. Opening day at Founders Park. It's here. Hopefully you're ready. And again, if you have started tailgating, which I feel like is more than likely for some of you, take it easy. Got several hours here, until first pitch. You still got a little less than 9 hours now. So just ease into the day. But as Jen has read the weather, sounds like it's going to be a spectacular day that I think we'll give credit to Tommy Moody for giving us a great day to start the college baseball season, and we'll get you updated. I'll give you a schedule coming up here in just a little while of other games taking place today across the country as it is opening day, and we are ready to go. Speaking of being ready to go, our good buddy Chris Deering joining us as we have hit playoff time in boys and girls basketball across the state. High school baseball is getting set to get going here in just a few days. A lot to get to, Chris Deering, as it hits that busy time of the year. Baseball, softball, I think is it lacrosse season? Lacrosse is in the spring. Am I right on that?
Lacrosse,
Yep.
Track.
tennis, soccer. Yeah, it's a really busy time of year right now with athletics. Finishing up wrestling as well. Basketball, like I said, just got a couple more weeks. It's just really a busy time right now with high school athletics, and this is what you get into business for, to stay busy and be around these athletes and these coaches and see people compete, and it's a good couple of weeks coming up here.
Let's start here with some of the girls' playoff action from this week. A lot to get to, so I'll kind of turn the mic over to you and talk about some of the games, some of the teams right now that you either had a chance to get some information on or hear about as we got going this week with the first round.
Well, yeah, we got the first round. What was that? Tuesday and Wednesday. Nobody played last night. Took the night off, and then we're back at it tonight and tomorrow. We got 5A, 4A, and 1A will be playing tonight on the girls' side of the bracket. And you're looking at some of those teams. You look in 5A. We hadn't talked much about Dutch Fork, but they've been really good this year. They've been in the top 5 most of the season. They get Somerville coming up tomorrow on the girls' side. You got Carolina Forest on the Grand Strand area. They're going to Goose Creek. And then you got Wando and Ashley Ridge and Berkeley and Sumter. That's the lower state 5A. I like Dutch Fork's chances there. You can't fault what they've done this year. They had a girl that had transferred out of state. She was at Dutch Fork. She transferred out of state, and her name escapes me right now. She transferred back in, was Region Player of the Year. So they've been really good this year. They won the region for the first time since 2014. So I think the Silver Foxes have a chance to make a long run here in the 5A bracket. And then on the upper state side, really and truly, you got Spring Valley in there with a bunch of blue bloods from the upper state. Spring Valley travels to Gaffney tonight. And then you got, Dorman and Malden, they're playing each other. Burns at Rock Hill. Rock Hill probably has to be the favorite in the upper state is my guess. And then Spartanburg, JL Man. So that's what you're looking at in the 5A girls side. If I had to sit here and pick today who we're seeing to play each other in 2 weeks, I'm going with Rock Hill and Dutch Fork. So we'll see how that pans out. 4A side, we do have a little bit more local flavor in that one, lower state. Looking at the PD area, you got James Island going to Wilson. That should be a really good matchup. AC Flora and Lucy Beckham, Hartsville and Ridgeview, and then North Myrtle Beach at Bluffton. So you got a couple locals here, and then you got a team from the PD, or 2 teams from the PD in Wilson and Hartsville, and then North Myrtle Beach still alive. So that should be, again, I don't know who the favorite is in that one. Ridgeview, maybe they won that region with AC Flora and Westwood, who got beat in the first round. So Ridgeview might even be a favorite in the 4A lower girls side. And then the upper state, again, not many local flavors in it, but and on that side of the thing, there's been a dynasty in 4A girls basketball in the last decade, and it's been North Augusta. So I don't think you bet against North Augusta at this point. Hadn't always won the state championship, but they won several in the last few years, and they've been there several times. So I think North Augusta has to be the favorite in the 4A upper. And then, 1A, we don't talk about 1A much, but C.A. Johnson, boys and girls are still alive. The girls go to Denmark Olar tonight. And then let me see if I got any other teams. Latta from the PD, they get Military Magnet. Military Magnet's been dominating Class A girls for a number of years now, so that should be a tough matchup for Military for Latta. And then Burkett Lakeview, another PD team. Lakeview's at home, so I'd have to favor them in that one. So that's the girls' side of things tonight. Tomorrow, you got 3A and 2A. In 3A, Crestwood at Dillon. Crestwood, has kind of been fighting that Camden battle in that region. They haven't been able to get over that hump. You got Hanahan at LR. That should be a pretty entertaining game here in the Midlands tomorrow. And then obviously the favorite with Joyce Edwards, the defending state champ. Camden is hosting Waccamaw tomorrow. I don't know that anybody on that side of the bracket can really challenge Camden. It'll be interesting to see if we get Camden LR in the next round, how that one pans out. So that should be a one to watch coming up in the next week. And then on the upper state side of things, you got, again, not many locals, mainly a lot of upstate teams. And probably the favorite on that side is Wren. They made a long run last year, so that's probably the favorite in the 3A upper if I had to sit here and bet today. And then 2A girls action, you're looking at lower state, you got Lee Central at Woodland, Chesterfield at Bishop England, Hampton County at Kingstree, and then Oceanside is probably.
Oh, we'll have to get Chris Deering back. Looks like the phone line just dropped there with Chris, so we'll have to effort and get him back. I tell you what, 803-404-6100. Jen, I tell you what, we'll go ahead and hit a break here, and we will get Chris Deering back. While we do that, we'll go ahead and hit a break. You're listening to Bill Gunner. Chris Deering will join us again. High School Highlights of the Week. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Download the 107.5 The Game app and listen anywhere. The beach, the gym, and yes, even there. Go to iTunes or Google Play and snag the 107.5 The Game app.
Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you looking to buy or refinance, now is the time to get in touch with Jacob Crowder. He'll get you taken care of. He did that for me just a few years ago, put me in a great condo on the lake, got a great interest rate. And you know what? Right now, interest rates have stabilized. So has the local housing market. If you're looking for a brand new home, if you're thinking about building a brand new home, now is the time to call Jacob Crowder. 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. You probably listen every morning and go, why do they call him the Mortgage Guru? Find out for yourself. Give him a phone call. It's free. It'll explain maybe some great interest rates to you and some great options that First Palmetto Bank and Jacob Crowder have, because he has local decision makers. That also means quick and precise underwriting. 803-719-1005. He's the Mortgage Guru with First Palmetto Bank, Jacob Crowder. Call him today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia.
credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's. Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram. President's Day sales event.
NIL is more important than ever to success in college athletics. Our friends at Garnet Trust are trying to build the best NIL program in the country for South Carolina student athletes. Head on over to garnettrust.com where you can support Gamecock athletes, get access to exclusive content, and help build the best NIL program in the country.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
Brian Windhorst here. Let's revisit the Lakers again.
All I can tell you is the Lakers are coming in under expectations right now. LeBron is 39. LeBron has an option on his contract. The Lakers don't know whether they're going to have their draft pick. I don't know what's going to happen with Bronny James, whether he's in the draft or not. And if he is in the draft, I don't know when he's going to take him. These are all unanswered questions. And that was what makes this kind of a fascinating thing to watch.
No doubt.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
Is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia, Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Chain Gang Road at Garner's Ferry Road, an accident there. Also, you find one I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road. Slow down I-77 southbound at I-20. Also, Leapart Road at Highway 378. So be careful out there this morning. If you would, we are looking for a pretty nice forecast for the next several days. We are going to see some clouds today, but 68 for the high, 57 tomorrow, 54 on Sunday before we get back into the 60s. For the start of your work week. Right now, 46 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:32 as we roll along here on your Friday morning, opening day for college baseball. Again, I'll get some of those games up for you here later and give you a rundown of that schedule. Of course, Gamecocks and Red Hawks, Miami of Ohio, in town for a 3-game series. You'll hear it right here at 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. We'll get going with a pregame show at 3:45. First pitch, 4 o'clock today. Chris Deering joining us. Had a little phone glitch there. That's all right. He's back up and running. Let's jump over to the boys' side of things, Chris. 5A boys. We still have our collision course occurring. Lexington, who rolled over Goose Creek the other night on Wednesday night. Somerville rolled over Dutch Fork, and those two teams still in line to maybe meet in the lower state championship. A few other games, just your thoughts on here as we get going. These games will be played tomorrow. Dorman took down White Knoll. Thomas Ryan looking for another state championship up there with the Cavaliers. And my buddy Ben Lee over at River Bluff pulling off a win against Gaffney at, I believe, the Chop House is what Ben Lee has affectionately named it. They'll take on Malden.
Yeah, correct. Talking about the lower state, I do still think we're headed towards a Lexington-Somerville lower state championship game. Like I said, Lexington's got West Ashley tomorrow night. That should be an entertaining one, but I don't see them coming into Lexington and winning that game. And then Somerville's got Wando, which I think they were handled pretty easily. There is a sort of intriguing matchup maybe for Somerville in the next round. They played a winner of Berkeley at St. James, and St. James has been a team that is sort of flown under the radar, but they have a really good record. They've been in the top 5 for most of the latter part of the season. So that could be a tricky one for Somerville to get to that matchup. But, I'm not betting against the Green Wave. I think they got the ingredients to challenge Lexington. They're very athletic. Yannick Smith, the football player that's going to East Carolina, is he might be as good as basketball player as he is football player. He's been leading them most of the year, so that should be a really good matchup if we can get that game in Sumter next week. So that's one we've talked about for a long time, and I think it's going to happen if the Green Wave can get over the hump against Wando and the winner of Berkeley St. James, and Lexington's got to beat West Ashley, and then the winner of Sumter Cane Bay. So, but that can happen. I think we get that matchup, and that will be a really good one. And you talk about Thomas Ryan, he's back with a team that's got a chance to make it to a championship. They can actually come to town on Saturday and play at Blythewood. So that should be a really good matchup. Blythewood won their region. Dormy came in second behind Burns. So that should be a really good matchup, I think. And then River Bluff, I was following that game on Twitter when they played Gaffney the other night. They were down big in the first half and came back and won. I think it was 71-68. So that was a big win for them. Sierra Cromer, I think, had 31 points in that game. He just wouldn't let them lose. So they have to go on the road tomorrow and play Malden. So that should be I think that's entertaining and could be a potential road team getting the victory there with River Bluff going to Malden. And then the other teams on that side of the brackets, TL Hanna at Nation Ford and Fort Mill at Burns. So like I said, we mentioned Burns. I did see them earlier this year. Really talented bunch. They play, very disciplined basketball, and they're going to be a hard out in the upper state bracket.
4A features a few local teams. There will be a really good one. Wilson, and I forget the young man's name. Wilson has a very good freshman, from what I'm told. It'll be a national recruit. They'll take on AC Flora tomorrow night. Ridgeview continuing their run through 4A basketball. They'll take on Lucy Beckham.
Well, yeah, you talk about AC Flora and Ridgeview. All four teams in that region won first-round games, and that's sort of unusual, but maybe not surprising. AC Flora, we've talked about them being maybe a sleeper all season. They did knock off Ridgeview last Friday night to cost Ridgeview the region title and let Westwood win that title. So they were the number one seed. But, yeah, AC Flora's got to go to Wilson. Wilson knocked out Irmo the other night. Irmo team that only won 5 games, which is, I think the worst record in Tim Whipple's tenure there. He's been there 40-plus years. But it was like a 10 or 11-point game, so it wasn't a blowout. And, I give this AC Flora program a chance tonight. If Wilson gets to the lower state championship, they're going to run through the Midlands area. Like I said, they beat Irmo the other night. They get AC Flora tomorrow night, and then they get the winner of Lucy Beckham and Ridgeview, which I fully expect that one to be Ridgeview. And that would be a tough gauntlet for Wilson to get through. And if they get through that, they would definitely be battle tested getting there. And I think the kid's name is Leonard. I can't think of his first name, but I think the freshman phenom, his last name is Leonard at Wilson. Yeah, he's really good. Like I said, I saw them earlier this year. Then the bottom half of that bracket, South Florence at Westwood, which that should be a really entertaining athletic game. And then Richland Northeast, the other team out of that region, will go on the road at James Island. So that region, we talked all year about that being a tough region. They proved it in the first round of the playoffs, and we'll see how this one pans out. But there's only 4 games in Lower State at this point, and you got a team from that region 5-4A in each one of the games. So that's what you want if you a region that expects to win and hopes to win state championships.
3A, you got Lower Richland and Phillips Simmons taking on each other. These games are taking place tonight. Again, Lower Richland moving on, and then just, I guess, locally, Orangeburg, Wilkinson will also be a part of this. They will have a good little game as I try to go back and find that. I just saw them on my bracket that I've got here in front of me, but they are in the 3A.
Yes. Yeah, OW is at North Charleston, PD area. You got Darlington at Loris and Dillon at Crestwood. Crestwood's been number one all year in 3A, and there's a reason for that. They're tall, they're athletic. Seen them earlier this year as well. But that should be if we can get Crestwood LR next round, I think that would be a really entertaining matchup, and that might be somewhere I'm heading on Monday night if that's what we get. So that should be a good one. And then, on the upper state side, no real locals, nobody from our area or the PD or the Grand Strand. But, looking at that one, I don't know who the favorite in the 3A upper state is. Blue Ridge is at home, Reds at home, Travelers Rest, and Daniel. So those would have to be the favorites, I would think, having a home game in the second round.
2A, of course, will feature Gray Collegiate still in it. They get Abbeville tonight, or is that tonight? Yes, 16th. Abbeville coming in, and also you got what I'd say is kind of a local matchup. Keenan will be traveling to, or no, Keenan is Keenan the home team, or Keenan or Newberry? Who's the?
Newberry's at home.
Okay, all right. Newberry's at home against Keenan.
So I told somebody before the playoffs started. Again, Keenan's been sort of down this year. I think they only had 10 wins going into the playoffs. Don't be surprised if we're sitting here next Friday talking about a lower state championship game between Keenan and Gray Collegiate. I think they're that good. I've seen Keenan several times this year. They just haven't been able to put it together. But, just like we talked about Dutch Fork and Tom Knotts in football, it's hard to pick against Zach Norris and Keenan in late February, early March. And I think he's got those kids playing really well right now. They won the first round game by 35 or 40 points. It'll be a tall test against Newberry on the road tonight, but, I'm not betting against Zach Norris. I'm just not going to do it. And then, if they win that one, they get to win a Strong Thurman Greer Middle College. And then the Abbeville Gray winner gets Landrum and Fox Creek. And again, looking at that bracket and looking at how things stand right now, I will not be a bit surprised if we're not sitting here next Friday talking about a Gray Keenan lower state championship game, upper state championship game.
Baseball set to get going. We'll get into more of that next week. Obviously, a good breakdown there. Real quick, baseball set to get going here. The first preseason scrimmage is about a week from today. Actually, today's 16th, 23rd, and the first contest March the 4th for these programs. But just as you get going, quick breakdown, about a minute and a half of what you're hearing on baseball right now.
Yeah, there's been some scrimmages already. That's like preseason tournaments you got coming up next week. River Bluff, again, 5A is really good. AC Flora, I think, is going to be decent. They had to replace a lot from last year. Roper Winsky's a kid maybe to watch out for on that Flora team. Bo Holly's at River Bluff. 5A, going back to 5A, Lexington is probably going to be really good again. Chapin's going to be good. White Knoll is probably going to be better than they have been. So, I expect baseball in the Midlands again to be another solid year. Gray Collegiate 2A has been good for several years now. Brooklyn Casey in 3A. So I don't expect things to change and have the usual suspects up there near the top when it comes playoff time in late April, early May.
Chris, we always appreciate a lot of information to get to. Next week, I know we only had one head coaching, only one head coaching change this week. J-Bo Shaw taking the head football job at Greenville. Maybe next week we'll have a little bit more on
Real quick before we sign off, Bill, we got D'Angelo Bryant.
That's right.
Got the Great Collegiate job this week.
That's right. We did not have it. That was this week. Yeah. So we'll talk more about some football next week. Starting to wrap up the basketball playoffs and look a little bit ahead to softball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, track and field. Good grief. A lot going on. Busy time of the year.
Yes, sir. That's the way we like it. And, it'll be a busy couple weeks here, but that's good for everybody, I think.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Chris, man, have a great weekend, and we look forward to catching up with you next Friday.
All right. Sounds good. You have a great weekend too, Bill.
Take care. That is Chris Deering joining us as he always does. The high school highlights of the week, and again, a lot to break down, and good luck to all those parents and players that are participating in basketball, both boys and girls playoffs taking place this weekend. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into some football discussion, baseball, plenty of that to discuss. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that he will retire in 2029. I've been critical of how he handled the Astros cheating scandal and how he got suckered into yanking the All-Star game from Atlanta. I also hate he continued his use of extra innings ghost runners, but his pitch clock has been a game changer and might have even saved baseball. So he's done some good. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Oh no, your little one has caught a cold and has a cough. Help them feel better fast with DayQuil Kids from Vicks. It's specifically formulated just for kids, and it helps treat their most bothersome cold symptoms. It's also available in 2 delicious flavors, honey and berry. DayQuil Kids is the daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Pick it up at your local pharmacy or any major retailer today. For kids 6 and up, use as directed.
Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs. So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sit-a-thon and grab a seat or 2. Ends 3/2. In-store only. See associate for details.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at seeducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Spring not officially here, but the rainy season is coming up. And the question becomes, how is your roof holding up? Have you even checked on it this year? You probably thought about your health. You probably thought about eating correctly, working out, all those great things. But have you thought about your roof? Because we both know that spring showers are just around the corner, those summer thunderstorms that we get. And if you've had a leak or if you have a leak in your roof, you want leak detection right now. And the perfect company for that, Mid-State Roofing. They've been the proven leader for nearly 30 years in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And you need to give them a phone call today, 803-356-1919. Again, if you've thought about that roof and whether it's ready to hold up or not, give Mid-State Roofing a call. Get some leak detection today, 803-356-1919. They got a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week call center. So call Mid-State Roofing today. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. The Game TV. The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's missed by all. One of the best to have ever done it. Nobody had more pride and love and passion for Gamecock baseball than Tommy did. He was a close friend of mine, close friend of many. And he's been sorely missed. And I think he'll be missed even more once we start playing games and we don't hear his voice and we don't hear his passion. And I don't go on the radio show with him so he can ask very detailed questions about how the weekend went. I'm going to miss all those things. But we are going to honor him as is deserved and in a manner that I think will make him and his family proud. And the one thing I can say is I know he'll be watching over us. And when you see us get good breaks during the year, I think we can look up and say Tommy might have had a hand on that.
Mark Kingston, they're talking about the one and only Tommy Moody. And I actually got a text message earlier, which I kind of agreed with Jay Wade, and he said, enough Tommy stuff. I'm tearing up on my way to work. And yeah, I think we all are as we get ready for opening day, Founders Park, 4:00 over there today. Again, our pregame show will start really at noon. At noon, Jay and Terry, you can go visit them at the Village Idiot today as we get the season started. And then the official pregame show will begin at 3:45 today. And again, I mentioned it earlier, they are doing a special celebration for Tommy prior to the game. So if you're heading down, please get into the stadium early and honor the one and only Tommy Moody. And then we'll have first pitch today, 4:00 as we get you ready. Also want to let you know the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway starts today. You can go to 107.5 at the game to register for your chance to win cash. It's the Palmetto Citizens FCU Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway starting today. To learn more, go to 107.5 the game to register for your chance to win some cash. So that'll be coming up today about noon. You'll have Terry and Jay over at Village Idiot on Whaley Street with our buddy Brian Glenn. 3:45 pregame, and then 4:00 first pitch. And again, reminder, South Carolina and Miami of Ohio, they've met 7 times already. South Carolina holds a 6-1 advantage. The last meeting between these two teams occurred in 2015. South Carolina swept all 3 games. Will Crow with a shutout in game 1. Jack Wynkoop with a shutout in game 2. And the Gamecocks would go on to win game 3, 5-3 on a Sunday afternoon then in 2015. South Carolina 37-9 all time against current baseball teams playing in the MAC conference. Also today, it'll feature the not the debut, but the return of sophomore outfielder Ethan Petrie and junior catcher Cole Messina, both on multiple preseason All-American teams. So this team, South Carolina rolls in, and today, again, the starter will be Eli Jones. Jones made 6 starts last year, 4 against SEC foes. He struck out career high 10 against Arkansas back in May of last year. Jones last year 4-5 with a 3.95 ERA. He had 23 total strikeouts in 54 2/3 innings. And I feel like, and again, we'll catch up with John Whittle coming up in about 40 minutes, but I feel like most of you will have a close eye on that bullpen, the starters and the bullpen this coming weekend. And again, the starters for the Gamecocks will be Eli Jones today, Dylan Eskew tomorrow, and Roman Kimball coming up on Sunday. Game times, again, tomorrow will be noon, Sunday 1:30. So if you've got tickets planning to go, again, today, obviously 4:00, you're well aware of that. Tomorrow at noon and Sunday at 1:30. So should be a lot of fun. By the way, South Carolina, dating back to 1892, South Carolina 90-41 all time in season openers. They've won their last 4 season openers, and they're 22-3 in its last 25 season openers. So you get the point. South Carolina, Founders Park, the crowd, all a very good combination, and it should be a lot of fun today. I think we've been blessed with some incredible weather. So if you're heading out, should be very enjoyable. And we will see. Look, the expectation around here is always very simple. Host a regional. And this, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I think this is very fair. Host a regional. Get to the Super Regional. And then if you get to the World Series, it's been a fantastic year. And obviously,
it'd be great to host the Super Regional too.
Certainly. I'm just, things get funny. And obviously with the conference that South Carolina plays in, the difficulties that it can present. Again, we look down the line. If you want to look down the line, the first conference series will be on the road March 15th through the 17th when South Carolina goes to Mississippi. They'll have their first home conference series March 22nd when Vanderbilt comes to town for a 3-game series. So you know that it's tough playing in the SEC. How South Carolina handles that and what they do moving forward depends on injuries. South Carolina obviously getting off to that incredibly hot start last year, kind of fading down the stretch, but getting through the regional, getting to the Super Regional in Gainesville where things didn't exactly go their way. By the way, D1 Baseball, which there's so many websites, so many things there. D1 Baseball has put out their projections they put it out yesterday, their projections for the field of 64. And as I glance through this, they currently have, just from the SEC alone, they have Tennessee as the 10 seed, Vanderbilt as the 7 seed. They have Clemson hosting a regional as the 8 seed, Texas A&M hosting a regional as the 9 seed. Other SEC teams involved are LSU is the 4, Arkansas is the 3, Coastal Carolina hosting is a 15, and Florida hosting is a 2.
So we got no love.
Got no love. Got no love.
See, I'll play with the chip on my shoulder with that. This is how your preseason looking? Okay, I'll show you.
So you're probably asking, well, wait a minute, I didn't hear South Carolina in there. Where do they have South Carolina? Currently, preseason projection, South Carolina would be traveling to Greenville, North Carolina to play in the East Carolina Regional. This, again, preseason projection, UNC Wilmington and Canisius as well. That is the projection D1 Baseball has put out for their postseason bracket of 64. South Carolina would be hosting a regional, which that just would kind of be a failure there. That's where it would be. 803-404-6100, hour 3 on the way.
This is Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, and I'm telling you, we had such a time when we had to have that kitchen redone. It was such a mess from that flood, and CHW Cabinetry could not have been any better. The photorealistic renderings that they gave helped us pull all the other elements together that we needed to get the kitchen put back together. But they do more than kitchens. Do you have a closet? Maybe it needs to be more functional. Do you have a pantry that's just kind of a disaster? They can help with that as well and make things a lot more functional, create even better storage options. We even have them replacing a vanity and a cabinet in a Jack and Jill bath soon. So if you're looking to make some updates in your home, maybe even creating a workspace, visit chwcabinetry.com or call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them that Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry. You won't be disappointed. Passion from inspiration to installation.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Drought, war, and rising food prices have doubled the number of families facing malnutrition. You can help. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Life matters. Ned was as predictable as the sunrise. In fact, every morning at sunrise, you could find him at the docks feeding shrimp to the seagulls. He's done it for decades. No, he's not some eccentric, or is he mentally unhinged? Ned has a debt to pay. During the closing months of World War II, his ship was torpedoed, and he spent several days adrift in the Pacific. He and his fellow survivors made it only because they were able to lure seagulls within reach of their crowded lifeboat, where they were either trapped or killed with an oar. Ned and his friends ate the birds raw until they were eventually rescued. He has fed shrimp to the gulls ever since, his way of saying thank you to that species for the ultimate sacrifice that ensured the survival of those young sailors. Like Ned, we should daily give thanks to the one who died that we might live. His name, Jesus Christ, Savior of the world. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
The Columbia Boat Show kicks off on February 16th through 18th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. It's your one-stop shopping paradise for all things nautical, including the best boat deals in the Midlands. Enjoy family fun, food trucks, and hundreds of boats. Visit thecolumbiaboatshow.com for details.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And things haven't been too bad out on the highways, but a couple of things to let you know about, like Lee Park Road at Highway 378, I-77 southbound at I-20, and I-20 westbound at St. Andrews Road. Still working getting that cleaned up. One other accident, Chain Gang Road at Garner's Ferry. The forecast not looking too bad. Oh, it is mid-February. 68 will be our high today under cloudy skies, and then drop into the 50s for the remainder of the weekend. By Monday, we hit 62, 65 on Tuesday. Really not looking for any rain. until maybe on Friday. But it's looking nice right now. A little overcast and 46 on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Michi Johnson here, South Carolina point guard, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief and the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. That, folks, is Charles Dickens predicting the Gamecock fate on Saturday. A tale of two halves, Bill.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Interesting way to open the program there with a little Charles Dickinson reading for you. So
I'm sorry, who?
What is his last name? I don't know.
Charles Dickens.
Dickens. It's not Dickinson?
Not Dickens.
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't read.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
All earned it. Obviously, Matthew Becker was also in the mix before he had a minor setback, but they've all earned it. SQ is probably our most improved pitcher on the staff right now. Eli Jones has just been a steady pitcher for us and just keeps getting better and better. So he's earned the right to be that first guy. And Roman Kimball's very talented, has had some great moments in inter squads, but again, he's still coming off Tommy John, so we're taking that into consideration as well. But for these guys, as of today, these are the guys that have earned that right.
That is Mark Kingston in his weekly media press conference yesterday, talking to us about how he arrived at the starters. It'll be Eli Jones today, 4:00. And we'll talk more about this coming up here in about 30 minutes with John Whittle. The question becomes 803-404-6100. What are you looking for? You can weigh in this hour. What are you looking for? Are you just looking for wins? Are you looking for bullpen development? Matt Williams steps in now as pitching coach following the departure of Justin Parker. So what do you look for? I think, again, a lot of people, are you looking for the bats to come out red hot? Are you looking for Ethan Petrie to pick things back up? Cole Messina to be that leader? 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in on that. And again, John Whittle coming up here in about 30 minutes, and we'll talk with him about what he is looking for to show us a little bit of development early on in the season, the first 3 games here of the year. And should be a lot of fun today. Again, great weather down there at Founders Park. Should be fantastic. Again, you'll have this 3-game series. Then next week, you follow up with 2 midweek games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Queens College will be the Wednesday game. Winthrop, 4 o'clock. Both of those 4 o'clock, by the way. Winthrop on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Queens College on Wednesday, the 21st at 4 o'clock. And that'll be followed by a 3-game series next weekend, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 1:30 against Belmont. So there's your opener to the season there. The Gamecocks, again, will open the season with a 10-game homestand. The way things shake out with Clemson being that Friday night game. South Carolina will go Miami of Ohio this weekend, Winthrop, Queens, Belmont next weekend. That'll be followed by a Tuesday game against Gardner-Webb, February 27th. And we will open the month of March with the Tigers coming to town, 7 o'clock on March the 1st. So a lot to get to as baseball gets going. I think there's a little bit of excitement in the air, especially coming off of last year. Certainly, it was a disappointment not getting to the College World Series, but the way they were able to finish, get themselves to a super regional, obviously was very good. Later on today, you will have college baseball season in full effect opening up. Got a little tournament down at Conway, South Carolina, Springbrook Stadium. Indiana and Duke will kick off the college baseball season 11 a.m. this morning. Duke ranked 12th right now in the D1 Baseball Top 25. The D1 Baseball Top 25 features today everybody getting going. Oregon State taking on New Mexico. Hofstra traveling to Virginia. VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, traveling to Raleigh to take on NC State. James Madison traveling to number 3 Arkansas for a series in Fayetteville. VMI traveling to number 4 LSU at Alex Box Stadium there in Baton Rouge. Wagner traveling to Chapel Hill to take on, and I'll just use the Jay Phillips word for it, to take on Chapel Hill, or otherwise affectionately known as North Carolina, number 15 North Carolina. Wagner up there today, 4 o'clock. Xavier in town up in Tiger Town to take on number 10 Clemson. Ryder traveling to Greenville to take on number 11 East Carolina later today. Another game at Springbrook Stadium will feature the home team, number 18 Coastal Carolina, hosting George Mason. You already know about Miami of Ohio and South Carolina. 5 o'clock later today, this afternoon, Manhattan travels to Tuscaloosa to take on number 19 Alabama. Seton Hall down at Mount Pleasant, down out at Patriots Point, taking on number 20 Iowa. 5 o'clock today. UC Santa Barbara, they are number 17. They are traveling all the way to Campbell to take on the Camels up at Bowie's Creek. Campbell not ranked. Remember
Gaylord.
And what was the other one? Sasha?
What
Shannon?
is her name?
You work on that. That's what we count on you for around here.
I always remember because I had an uncle named Gaylord, so I my aunt is the name I want to put with it, and it's not right.
Makes perfect sense. Absolute perfect sense. Fordham traveling to number 1 Wake Forest later today. Florida Atlantic in Nashville to take on number 6 Vanderbilt. St. John's down in Gainesville to take on number 2 Florida. McNeese taking on number 8 Texas A&M out in College Station. Florida Gulf Coast traveling over to number 5 TCU. Number 23 Northeastern going to Arizona, traveling out to Tucson. The one matchup of ranked teams today, Texas Tech, number 21 in the D1 top 25. They are in Arlington for a tournament there to take on number 9 Tennessee. So that is your one matchup this weekend. I should say that's a tournament. You may see other ranked teams play other ranked teams in these little tournaments, but that is your only matchup today of top 25 teams in the D1 baseball top 25. Kansas State in a tournament this weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona, taking on California. Hopefully the crowd in Scottsdale has settled down a little bit from a wild weekend of golf. Gonzaga at number 22 UCLA, and the top 25 will wrap up with an 8 o'clock game. San Diego traveling to number 16 Texas. As be interested to see Texas and Oklahoma, by the way, in the SEC next year. Just giving you the remainder, if I can get there and the screen doesn't pause, I'm giving you the remainder of the SEC schedule for this coming weekend here. Obviously, again, mentioned several of those teams that are already playing. Most of, not all of, but most of the SEC ranked. The ones that are not: Kentucky traveling to USC Upstate, Spartanburg, South Carolina. UNC Asheville traveling to Georgia, as I mentioned. Also, Air Force going to Mississippi State. Missouri going to Cal Poly this coming weekend. And Eastern Kentucky on the road at Auburn. Mississippi out in Hawaii as well. So there's your SEC schedule for the weekend. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Again, question to you this hour: What exactly are you looking for from this baseball team this weekend? As I said, look, I have said it for a long time. South Carolina baseball set a standard over the last 23 years, especially with Ray Tanner, of host the regional, get to the super regional, and then anything past that, getting to the College World Series makes it a great season. Anything past that becomes absolute the cherry on top. Obviously, you always want to win the thing. In South Carolina, we'll see how their pitching is. Again, Eli Jones on the mound today, Dylan Eskew taking the mound tomorrow, and Roman Kimball on the mound on Sunday. 803-404-6100. Here's a little scouting report. Mark Kingston talking about Miami of Ohio and what he expects from them. This is yesterday during his media session. Here's what Mark Kingston thinks of Miami of Ohio.
Our team, they hit 79 homers last year, so they're a power team. It's a new coaching staff, so because of that, we're not quite sure what to expect. We've done our scouting reports. The assistant coaches have been working really hard on the offensive and the pitching side, but you just don't know. Because of the portal, because of new coaching staff, you're just not really sure what you're going to get. A lot of what we do will just be based on our strengths, and then we'll adjust as we go.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Again, what you're expecting. By the way, just for the Texter weighs in and says, I thought Texas and Oklahoma joins the SEC in 2024 this year. I'm sorry, I meant baseball 20 2025. You're right. The Texas and Oklahoma will be on the schedule for, obviously, South Carolina goes to Oklahoma. I just meant baseball next year, 2025, when Texas and Oklahoma baseball joined the SEC. I apologize for that confusion. 803-404-6100. Anonymous texter weighs in. Super regionals is the expectation, nothing less. I can agree with that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. Again, John Wood will do up in about 20 minutes. We'll get his thoughts on this when we come back. We'll let you listen to a little bit of Lamont Paris from last night. His team, they're back on the court. They've got to just shrug off that loss to Auburn on Wednesday night. We'll let you hear a little bit of Lamont Paris and talk some about that. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Ever been on this date?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine.
And thought, man, I'd rather be listening to the game right now.
Welcome in to the afternoon show. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the Game app. Sure, you may no longer be with that person anymore, but you'll never be without the game again.
Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet in 2024. It's all about in with the new, especially at Love Chevrolet, and lots of it. Tahoes, Suburbans, Camaros, and the red hot Silverado. And you know what? With 14 acres of brand new Chevys, you're guaranteed to find your favorite color and trim. And guess what? They're here and ready for you to drive. So go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. The company has been in business for over 60 years because of that incredible sales staff to go along with 14 acres of brand new Chevrolets that guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. And of course, Love Chevrolet will beat any competitor's price or pay you $1,000. That's right. It's the $1,000 low price guarantee. So don't wait another day. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. The place where you can be guaranteed honesty, and integrity. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
7.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
With approved credit. Have you ever heard an ad for a really great sale but thought to yourself, my credit score isn't where it needs to be? If that's you, then listen up. The great team at JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram doesn't want you to miss out over credit concerns. It's President's Month, and we've got prices and programs that can make what seems impossible possible. Jamarcus in Columbia and Tanya and Kershaw both had shaky credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's. Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram. President's Day sales event.
Are you tired of a ton of fees, low savings rates, and high loan rates from your bank? Make the switch to Palmetto Citizens, a local not-for-profit credit union. Since they don't have to pay stockholders like banks, Palmetto Citizens returns profits back to their members as better rates and fewer fees, just as they've been doing in the Midlands for over 85 years. Join Palmetto Citizens by visiting palmettocitizens.org or any of their 14 convenient Midlands locations today. From truly free checking, tons of savings options, better auto loans and credit cards, and a full range of mortgage solutions, Palmetto Citizens is here to look out for you and your budget. Palmetto Citizens, achieve your potential. This credit union is federally insured by the NCUA. Loan approval subject to credit worthiness. Equal housing lender. NMLS ID number 44996. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The battle is back. Clemson baseball is set to face off against USC baseball Saturday, March 2nd at Secker Park. The festivities start early with the Battle at Bull Street pregame party presented by B106.7. Gates open at 1 p.m. for a tailgate-like atmosphere with music, games, and drinks on the center field concourse. The pregame party presented by B106.7 continues until 3 p.m., allowing fans to watch both teams take batting practice. A ticket for the game is required to attend the B106.7 pregame party.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are the Gant girls. You know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Still a few slowdowns out there, so be careful, please. I-77 southbound at I-20. Sparkleberry Lane at Two Notch Road, an accident there, and still reporting maybe an object on the roadway, Highway 378 at North Lake Drive. So just be careful as you approach that intersection. And we're looking for a high today of 68. Then we get down into the 50s for the weekend. 57 tomorrow, 54 on Sunday, and then back into the low to mid 60s to get us through the middle of next week. But right now, it's a bit overcast. It is 46 on the early game.
Message Board Mayhem, sponsored by the Miles Agency. Call for a free quote today, 803-798-4600. The early game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
By Gabby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
That was the call last night. Caitlin Clark breaks the NCAA scoring record in women's basketball. And,
are we relieved at this point?
Well, I'll say this for our message board maniacs, our message board mayhem, we can all agree. I think there can be a lot of division in our country.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, aside from one school, we can all come together for one common cause, and that Caitlin Clark might be the worst of all time. This comes from Cyclone Fanatic, Danville Cyclone on our message board mayhem. Says no one in the NCAA women's Power 5 schools has turned it over more than Caitlin. She is the worst of all time. I think we can all come together. We can all come together for that. Yes.
What an accomplishment. It's awesome, but I think they beat it into the ground to where it's like, I just didn't even care. Like, okay, she's probably going to hit it. She has like 8 points left to hit the record. Okay, great. Super. Move on. And I don't know that her personality excites me a lot. So maybe I don't know. I'm really having a hard time articulating because I can't decide if I like her, if I don't, and it shouldn't matter. It's a huge accomplishment. And I'm thrilled for her. You know, that's awesome to be in the record books and all that. But again, I just, the countdown was getting just annoying.
Yes, we're all glad for that.
I'm not even on the message board.
Now here's another one. Does this bring us all together? Now this one's a little testy. It's going to be a little. I'm not sure that this brings us together. Can we agree with Clemson fans? Can we agree with Clemson fans? Earlier this week, if you didn't see it, obviously Brock Bowers off to the NFL. Kirby Smart in Georgia picked up one of the top tight end transfers in the country, a Stanford tight end. This is BBB the second on a Clemson message board. And he says, Kirby, and he puts smart, but to wrap up the end of Kirby's last name, he adds a and $2 signs. Kirby Smart Bleep replaces Titan Bowers. He says, I guess you can take this unrestricted free agency and get anyone you want if nothing matters to a coach, but winning at all costs. An alumni foot the bill. I know it's legally in the rules, but I think you will see more and more head coaches leaving for the NFL to get away from having their rosters rated every year by teams like Georgia. The Dogs couldn't compete with Alabama or Clemson before Smart Bleep found a way to strip teams of their better players with NIL and the portal. And if anyone thinks Georgia doesn't recruit these other schools, they're nuts. Does that bring us all together? Can South Carolina and Clemson fans come together with this message board post that Kirby Smart couldn't compete with Alabama or Clemson before stripping all the better players from other teams using NIL and the portal?
I think those are some bonding words. I think we can come together on that.
There you go. There you go. There's a little bit of the message board mayhem right
Good.
there. We coming together today, unifying as one behind Cyclone Nation, who thinks that Caitlin Clark is the worst of all time, which we might all be, and a Clemson fan who thinks that if it weren't for the NIL and the portal, Georgia would not be able to compete with Alabama nor Clemson.
I think there's some solid thoughts in that.
There
I really
you go.
do.
The unity of the message board right there. 803-404-6100. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines where Barron wants to weigh in. Barron, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hello, how are you? I just heard a comment on the radio last night or TV that next she wants to go after Pete Maravich's scored record. That's ridiculous. She plays with girls who play on their back and they're tumbling around. And Pete averaged, I think, 46 or 47 points per game his entire career. And you can't compare her playing to his playing. It must always say she's got the girls' record, not the record. You know, I was in Atlanta when Pete came in from college to play pro ball. Of course, he was making $1 billion a year, and all the pros there were making $60,000 per year, and they did not like it at all. But anyway, Pete was magic, and the stadium was half filled till he got there. Then it was standing room only. Once he got there, he paid for his salary. But anyway, I'm just thinking you can't. It's like me going down to Charlotte and shooting a 57 and calling the PGA and said, I have their record. You know, I'm not playing for PGA. I did it at Charwood. You know, you can't compare the girls' game to the boys' game, men's game, and so that's my thinking on that.
All right.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, all record. Look, there's so many different. If you want to go, records are always going to be different. And for example, Anton Davis, who was the guard last year for Detroit Mercy, who, as I look at it, I thought Davis had passed him, to be quite honest. But the list I'm looking at here still has Pete Maravich 3 points ahead of Anton Davis. And I say this because, number one, as you just mentioned, Pete Maravich played from 1967 to 1970. Anton Davis played from 2018 to 2023. Pete Maravich played in 83 games. Anton Davis played in 144 games. Pete Maravich, for his career, as many of you know, made exactly zero 3-pointers because that was not around from 1967 to 1970.
Okay.
Anton Davis made 588 3-pointers. Different eras, different records, all kinds of things like that. So, you know, even a college basketball player today saying I'm gunning for Pete Maravich, well, do it in 83 games and do it with never making a 3-pointer. And then we have a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point,
otherwise it's apples and oranges.
To Barron's point, Pete Maravich in college averaged 44.2 points per game. Anton Davis averaged 25.4 points per game over 5 years. So to Barron's point, look, even anybody that wanted to say it in the men's game wouldn't really have a leg to stand on there because, again, Pete Maravich did it in far fewer games without the ability to shoot 3-pointers. So I understand what you're saying, but I think it encompasses everything. There will never be another scorer in the college game quite like Pete Maravich. 803-404-6100. Speaking of college basketball, tomorrow, 3:30, South Carolina and LSU. Good job, I guess, Barron, of connecting the show. LSU, the alma mater of one Pete Maravich, coming in yesterday or last night. Lamont Paris talking about his team, though, talking about South Carolina and what to work on after that 40-point loss to Auburn. Here's what Lamont Paris had to say last night during Carolina calls as the Gamecocks have got to bounce back. Here's Lamont Paris last night.
Basketball stuff. We tried to pick up our ball pressure, our individual one-on-one defensive ball pressure. There've been a couple things. I think that there's been a little slippage there. So we really worked hard on that today. We'll do the same thing again tomorrow, and a couple of our ball screen coverages and doing that kind of thing. But just getting back to our basics, getting back to us. We talk about that all the time, that the opponents change. Because of that, you tweak some things, but the vast majority of our success is based on, are we able to do the things consistently that we like to do? And so just refocusing on that and coming out and being aggressive and being in attack mode on Saturday.
South Carolina will be a favorite tomorrow. They do need to win this game. Look, again, the Auburn game will be irrelevant. The Auburn game will be irrelevant to anything South Carolina is hoping to accomplish moving forward, as long as you win tomorrow. Don't let one loss turn into two losses, and that's going to be the big thing. The other part for this, all that discussion, and this is just the way it works, all that discussion that we had on Wednesday when Lamont Paris's name surfaced in multiple hot boards, if you will, for the Ohio State job. Well, you lose on Saturday to the LSU. There's going to be some people who go like, well, maybe he needs a little more marinating. Maybe he needs to stay at South Carolina a few more years and continue to work on things. And Lamont Paris last night talked about his popularity and what's going on as his team wins in discussion for Coach of the Year and other jobs.
And I get into a routine of what I like to do in terms of watching tape, practice planning, certain things that I just like to do on my own schedule. But then just a number of other things that you end up doing. And it's good. It's great for our program, and it's great for the exposure of what we're doing here and the exposure of our players first and foremost. So I try not to turn any of those down, just to be able to get the word out on who they are and what they're doing. And but there are a lot of them, and Michael DeBates is in here tonight. He'll tell you there's a ton of them. Just get a ton of requests. Some of them at the last second, and he knows I normally don't like the last second stuff, but sometimes at the last second. But I try to just, if any of them that will work to promote our guys and what they're doing in our program, university and city and state, I try not to say no to them. But there are a lot of them.
Absolutely. Okay, remember that, Jen. We have to request him weeks in advance. I will admit, I'm bad about hey, on a Monday, hey, is Lamont available on Thursday?
Yeah. So we need to plan ahead a little more.
Plan ahead.
Well, I think if it's, once he hears your name, he would probably drop everything and talk to you.
Preston, not me.
No, true. Yeah.
Preston, more so Preston. 803-404-6100. Gamecocks and Tigers tomorrow. Colonial Life Arena, 3:30. Pregame starts right here on 107.5 The Game at 7 o'clock. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into some baseball. Up next, John Whittle. What is John Whittle looking for this weekend? We'll let you hear from him. It's the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality. The Game TV.
Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions. The spring is basically here. It's time to get out and start enjoying the backyard and your pool. And you know what? You need that pool to be clean. Let's be honest. The pollen's just around the corner. That's going to be a blast. So you need to contact the pool guru, Tracy Corley. With over 20 years of experience in maintaining pools, give him a call and line up your spring maintenance today. Call and get it going. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Corley Pool Solutions believes in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family, and that includes flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. That's right. You know exactly what you are paying for. 803-445-8109. Contact Corley Pool Solutions today. Tell them you heard it with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game.
Millions jackpot for Friday is $457 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Leaky pipes got your plumbing system in violation? Don't make a personal foul. Let Cool Care Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Refrigeration be your power forward when it comes to your plumbing system. They offer full plumbing services and can handle any job to keep your system working efficiently so you don't score a huge water bill. To schedule an appointment, call them at 803-772-7715 or book online at coolcarehvac.com. If you ever need emergency service, they have you covered 24/7, including holidays.
With approved credit. Have you ever heard an ad for a really great sale but thought to yourself, my credit score isn't where it needs to be? If that's you, then listen up. The great team at JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram doesn't want you to miss out over credit concerns. It's President's Month, and we've got prices and programs that can make what seems impossible possible. Jamarcus in Columbia and Tanya and Kershaw both had shaky credit, yet they're driving new vehicles they just got from JT's.
Now with 2 locations, 378 Lexington and Greystone Boulevard. JT's Jeep Dodge Ram.
President's Day sales event.
Start your spring cleaning today and get an insanely clean home with Zerust carpet and air duct cleaning. For this month only, mention me, Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 plus a free staircase. Book online at ZerustColumbia.com.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down. So she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Columbia near Whole Foods for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Honda ATVs and side-by-sides have a rock-solid reputation. And now you can get even more out of your new Honda with incredible deals on accessories. For a limited time, select Honda ATVs come with up to $300 in accessory savings, while select Honda side-by-sides come with up to $1,000 in accessory savings. Just head to Carolina Honda Powerhouse in Columbia and save big on accessories today. Carolina Honda Powerhouse, exit 70 off I-20, or visit carolinahonda.com. Honda accessory rebate offer is valid with the purchase of a new and unregistered 2024 and prior ATV, Pioneer, and Talon models. Check with Carolina Honda Powerhouse for complete details.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
I-77 southbound at I-20 still could be causing a little bit of a slowdown. Sparkleberry Lane at Two Notch Road, we have an accident there as well. So be careful out there this morning. No precipitation in the forecast. That is good news. Just some clouds today, and actually could be cloudy tomorrow. 68 for our high today. Then we drop down to 57 tomorrow, 54 on Sunday. But overall, should be a pretty nice weekend. It's not too bad right now. It is 46 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
8:34 as we get you up and get you going here on opening day for South Carolina. That's right, 107.5 The Game right here in Columbia, 100.3 The Game. You can catch the game right here beginning at 3:45 with a pregame show. Again, reminder, from noon until 3:45, Jay and Terry will be out at the Village Idiot on Whaley Street. That'll be pretty exciting. You go by. I believe Terry has offered to allow the first person who stops by to throw a pizza pie into Terry's face. I believe I heard that correctly yesterday when listening to the show. That was his promise. So you be the first one there. Be the first one there. You can see Jay and Terry, and you can throw a pizza at lots of cheese on it too at Terry Ford. I believe I heard that correctly yesterday, or I dreamed it last night. One of the two. Go by and find out today. Joining us now, the guru, the true guru of South Carolina baseball, John Whittle. And I know for you, just like for our buddy Tommy Moody, it is a happy, happy day to return to the press box and be at Founders Park and get the spring going with some South Carolina baseball.
Absolutely. Been watching a bunch of scrimmages over the last fall in the last 3 weeks, and ready to see the real thing. So should be a beautiful day out there at Founders Park.
It truly will be. First pitch again, 4:00. Get there early. They're going to be honoring Tommy Moody before the game, so please get to the stadium. Probably, John, do you have an estimate about 30 minutes before first pitch, 45 minutes? Do you know?
No, I think it's probably about 10 minutes before first pitch. I don't know exactly, but usually those things happen about 10 minutes. I'd say be in there about 20 minutes early, just be on the safe side, because they'll have plenty of opening day stuff going on just in general too. So it's probably a good day to be at the ballpark early just in general.
There you go. All right. So get there about 20, 25 minutes early and start taking everything in. Get out there and tailgate a little bit as well. So let's move into it here. The pitching, I feel like, is the biggest question mark. We talked with Kip Balknight about that yesterday. You and I have talked a little bit about that. Jamie Bradford and you and I all had discussions down at J.C. Sherbert's wedding. Your take, now that we know the rotation for at least this weekend, Eli Jones, Dylan Eskew, Roman Kimball, your thoughts on pitching for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitching staff in general has had a pretty good preseason. My stats are unofficial, but based on numbers, it looked like they cut down their walks by about 25% from the fall, which I think is certainly a good thing. There's some key guys who pitched much better here these last few weeks, in the build up to the season than they did in the fall. But I think things in general from a pitching staff are going in a better direction. As far as the starting rotation goes, it doesn't really surprise me too much. There were 4 guys battling for 3 spots with Eli Jones, who's got the opening day start today, Dylan Eskew starting tomorrow, and Roman Kimball on Sunday. Those 3 plus Matthew Becker were all kind of in the running for it, and Matthew left last week's scrimmage a little bit early with the sore lat, and he's going to be fine. Might be ready for one of the midweek games on Tuesday or Wednesday next week, but he's going to be fine. But that made the decision really easy to go with the rotation that they did. Eli Jones has been, in my estimation, the best guy on the staff in the lead up to the season. Dylan Eskew hasn't been real far behind, but Eli's got a bunch of innings under his belt at South Carolina, and Dylan doesn't have quite as many. So, that's why those 2. And then, Roman had a little bit of lat soreness as well, last week, and he's they've got him in line for Sunday. But Roman's got Friday night starter capability, so he looking forward to seeing what he can do. Since his last time pitching in a college baseball game was back in the College World Series for Notre Dame back in 2022. So he's coming off of Tommy John and looking forward to see what he can do this weekend.
John Whittle joining us of thebigspur.com, and you have to cover the transfer portal in football just like baseball and basketball. And I'm just glancing at the game notes for today, and if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like it says probable starters. Parker Noland, you've got Kennedy Jones, you've got, and I'm trying to read, the font that I've got here in front of me is very small, but I believe that's Blake Jackson from Charlotte. Is that correct? So we would have 3 transfers potentially in the lineup today?
Potentially. I don't think you're going to see Kennedy Jones in the starting lineup today. I think you'll see Blake Jackson out there in left field, probably for potentially center field. There's Tyler Causey and Gavin Casas are both a little dinged up right now, and those are your potential starting first basemen. And if neither one of them can go defensively, then Ethan Petrie will come in from the outfield and play first base. That's going to, shift some things potentially. So Blake Jackson will be out there somewhere, either in left field or center field. I think Dylan Brewer is going to be out there, either in center field or right field. And, Ethan Petrie will be out there and right. And, if Petrie's at first, I think it's going to be a freshman, Ryan Bates, out there in the outfield as well. Potentially Carson Hornig. There's a lot of depth in the outfield. So you could see a couple of different combinations, not only today, but over the course of the weekend and early in the season.
You mentioned the key word depth. From your vantage point, observing the preseason here, how has Mark Kingston used this depth all around the field to try and create competition and a couple key position battles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the outfield is the biggest example of it. First base is an example of it too. Gavin Casas hit 19 home runs last year for South Carolina and was a fixture in the lineup every day at first base. But Tyler Causey has pushed him every day. And if both of them were healthy, it'd be interesting to see what Mark Kingston would have done. Because Causey's played much much better than Casas in the lead up to the season. So Causey could DH some, but they've got several guys who could DH, and that's going to be interesting to see how he handles that spot. I think you're going to see a bunch of different at bats. That's going to evolve over the course of the season. But the third base, shortstop, second base, those and catcher, those positions have been pretty solid for one guy. Cole Messina at catcher, Tyler Jacory at third, Will Tippett at short, Parker Nolan at second. But there's certainly been some competition at some other spots that have made a whole lot of guys better.
803-404-6100 if you got something you want to weigh in with this morning. John Whittle joining us from the Big Spur, just about 4 minutes left with him. And so, John, I guess the big question, you play a team like Miami of Ohio, first-year head coach, coming off a losing record. In your mind, what do you, aside from just sweeping the series and winning baseball games, what is a successful weekend for people to be looking at if they look at statistics or players or pitching stuff, things of that nature? What is successful this weekend?
I think seeing a lot of guys and seeing what some guys can do out there in a real game situation. As you mentioned, there's a lot of guys from the transfer portal who have come in that you don't have a real great feel for, and same with the freshman class too. There's a half a dozen freshmen out there who have a chance to be helpful for this team this season. Some on the pitching staff and some in the field. So last year when you opened the season, you got to see some guys. You got out to an early lead and got to see some guys. You got to see Ethan Petrie taking a bat in the 7th inning or 8th inning those first couple of days, and then he was in the starting lineup in the third game because he had a couple of really good at bats. And you see him have one of the best freshman seasons of any player in South Carolina history. So, being able to see some guys and see how they react out on the field, I think is certainly a big deal and what you want this weekend. But you also have a first-year pitching coach this year, Matt Williams, who has a totally new staff that has to be rebuilt. So, how everybody reacts from a pitch standpoint, including the coach, and just kind of everybody getting their feet wet a little bit and seeing some success. I think all of those things will be certainly good for the Gamecocks.
About 45 seconds, real quick. I read the D1 baseball. About 45 seconds left with you. I read the D1 baseball projection for the field of 64. It's preseason. It's irrelevant. South Carolina not hosting a regional at all. That a big surprise to you, or right now too many questions? Seems about right.
Well, I'll be honest. I hadn't even seen that yet. I don't know if it came out today or if I just missed it. But it surprises me a little bit. I've got South Carolina hosting, but I don't have them as definitely a lock. I think there's some question marks around the pitching staff. I think there's some question marks defensively, especially on the infield. So D1 baseball is good. 2 years ago, South Carolina finished sub 500, and they had enough foresight about South Carolina as a program and as a team, ranked them in their top 25 last season going into the year. They ranked them 23rd after a below 500 season. So those guys know what they're doing over there, and I do think that South Carolina has a good enough team to host. I think they have a good enough team to go to Omaha, but it's not some kind of slam dunk case that this team has to be a preseason host lock at all. So it doesn't surprise me a whole heck of a lot, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they're right, because there are definitely some areas on this team that are question marks going into the year.
John, I appreciate it. We'll catch up with you later this week. Thank you for joining us.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Yes, that phone in your pocket or purse will keep you in touch with your family and friends. It will take great selfies of you on amazing adventures or just this morning's breakfast. And it's pretty good in case of an emergency. But the single most important function of your phone is the game.
But both defenses have been this year. What's so funny? The noise.
You can listen anywhere. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the Game app now.
Bill Gunner for the John Ecton Law Firm. 2024 is here, and the IRS is planning to send out their dreaded notices of intent to levy. You might have already received one. Tax season this year also. And if you or your business has received one, you could be in a little bit of trouble. But you know what? It's time to call John Ecton and get a free consultation. 803-771-9800. They have a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues, and John Ecton is ready to help you start the process and have a worry-free life with a free consultation. 803-771-9800 is how you can get in touch with them. They have proven local solutions, and they're going to help you. That much I can promise. Visit them on the web for more information. EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Again, give them a phone call. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-771-9800. Again, it's 803-771-9800. Call the Ecton Law Firm today.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by TaxSlayer. Start filing for free today at TaxSlayer.com. So last night's Fairleigh Dickinson LIU basketball game was delayed for 17 minutes. Why? Well, because New York City firemen extricated FDU's team from a stuck elevator. Yes, an elevator. After being shafted by the malfunction, the Knights beat the Sharks 84-82. Clearly, the experience in close quarters helped elevate their game. I'm Boomer Esiason.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Shop can't-miss deals on appliances this President's Day at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $75 on every $750 you spend on all major appliances, like LG, America's most reliable line of home appliances. Shop in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 2/28. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Hi, I'm Kathy Bates. People sometimes ask what I've learned in my 2-time battle with cancer. One is that with the right treatment, you can beat it. 2 is that it's not just cancer you're battling. You also need to anticipate LE, lymphedema, a disease that can leave those who undergo cancer treatment with a lifetime of swelling and pain. If you're facing a cancer diagnosis, discuss lymphedema with your doctor. With knowledge and action, we can.
The Early Game with Phil Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I don't want to talk over it.
Oh, I know.
Just
It's
keep
like
playing
kind
it.
of sacred almost.
Yeah, just keep playing it. Oh, the official anthem of the start of baseball season.
Woohoo! Collegiately, anyway.
True. Well, yeah, but I mean, I know there's a lot of Braves fans, pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. I like that line from Kip Balknight yesterday, who said you do your work up until about noon and then you go play golf. But baseball season about to be underway. It'll really get going 11 a.m. this morning when there's a tournament. I don't have the tournament in front of me. I clicked off of it. But down at Springbrook Stadium down in Conway, Indiana and Duke, according to D1 Baseball Top 25, will get the season going at 11 a.m. in Conway this morning. And then up here in Columbia, 4 o'clock today, South Carolina, Miami of Ohio. Just a reminder, as you heard Whittle saying, as we've been saying, there'll be a special pregame ceremony for the one and only Tommy Moody. Please get out if you're going to go, be in your seats 20, 25 minutes early and be ready for that. And then cheer loud and proud today. The Gamecocks in Miami of Ohio. This is a good baseball team. South Carolina is a good, not Miami of Ohio. South Carolina is a good baseball team. But there are questions that will need to be answered here. And again, this first kind of 10-game home stand as you get Miami of Ohio, Winthrop, Queens, Belmont, all these teams, Gardner-Webb, and I really should say the first 9 games because the 10th game of this homestand is Clemson. And to be quite honest, South Carolina needs to be up and running on all cylinders at that time on March 1st when Clemson rolls in 7 o'clock on that Friday night to start the Palmetto series there. So South Carolina's got about 9 games to get some things figured out as it stands for pitching. Again, Eli Jones will get the ball today, and they will be ready to go. And should be a fun crowd. Again, beautiful day out there, Jen. I know you've read the weather just a few times. And, again, I think high 60s.
High 68 or something like that. I mean, it's supposed to be a little bit overcast, which that's okay. They don't lose the ball in the sun, so that's good. It's better than the weather in Daytona, I'm just going to say.
Really? That's, by the way, yeah.
It's probably going to run Monday. There is so much rain in the forecast for this weekend. It's very disappointing. So if you have Monday off, there's a good thing for you to do on Monday because you'll be watching the race. Joey Logano got the pole.
Good news. We have Monday off. We will not be here on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday to break down everything that happens this weekend with the series and to talk about basketball as well. South Carolina basketball men's team off all of next week. They'll play Saturday, 3:30. Again, we'll do the pregame right here at 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then they will have the week off to get ready for a road trip to Mississippi. So a lot to get to on Tuesday when we come back, and we'll get more into the Sean Elliott situation. There's some questions there. I now start to have, we've seen it hit so close to home with Sean Elliott coming here from Georgia State, and Georgia State being a program that if they were playing on a Tuesday or Wednesday night or even a Thursday night, during the season, playing those midweek games, I would flip over and watch. Will not be doing that now quite as much, or not make an appointment television, but certainly that'll be something that we'll talk about as what is going on with these G5 schools and where are they going? Where exactly are they going? Real quick, and I say real quick, but Jen, today I've teared up once. I'm not going to try to make you tear up, but obviously you mentioned being in a text thread with Tommy Moody, and it's a great day for baseball to open, but there is no doubt Tommy Moody's presence will be felt at Founders Park today. But I know you were a lot closer with him, working and doing the morning show for so many years, and just his excitement for baseball and what you remember.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He was just like a kid in a candy store. And again, picturing looking at the console in your studio, I can just see all of the copious amounts of papers and things like that he had strewn about, and he just loved sharing factoids from things. Sorry, not choked up, just plain coughing. But he loved the sport. He loved sports in general, loved history, and loved equating things to numbers and records and all of that. And he just had he was just a gentle soul, and it came across on the radio.
Yeah, and he will be missed, but he will be honored. Get to your seats early today. Catch that. They'll be wearing stickers on the batting helmets for Moody. Certainly, so it'll be fun to be back at the ballpark. Gamecocks and Redhawks. And again, we've got a lot for you today, so stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere. It's been a lot of fun. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. It's been the early game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.